This week on the Jock and Nerd podcast, we've got a listener-sponsored review of Mike Judge's 2006 comedy, Idiocracy, plus the first trailer for Miss Marvel on Disney Plus is here.
Geek Boner.
Is a Daredevil Season 4 being developed? Early reactions are out for Moon Knight and Morbius, and their opposite reactions. All that and more in this edition of the Jock and Nerd Weekly for Monday, March 21st, 2002.
Hi, this is Gilbert Gottfried, and you're listening to the Jock and Nerd Podcast. Why? I don't know.
Check one. All right, this is for all you fans out there. Let's give it up. We jock it, we nerd it. We funny, disturb it. We jock it, we nerd it. We spoiler alert. Oh yeah!
Hello, listener. Thank you for joining us. Welcome to the Jock and Nerd Podcast, where we deliver comic book and superhero TV and movie news, reviews, and whatever we choose. Jock and Nerd. My name is Imran.
My name's Anthony.
He's the Jock.
He's a nerd.
And joining us, recently appointed to our government as Secretary of the Interior, it's Rug Boy Camacho. What's up, Secretary Ruggs? Glad to have you here.
I plan to put electrolytes everywhere.
It's what plants crave.
It's what everybody craves.
You gotta put it in. This is gonna be a fun show. Here's why, guys. The day this show publishes will be Wednesday, March 23rd, 2022. The very first episode of the Jock and Nerd podcast came out March 23rd, 2015.
Oh, shit.
Happy 7th anniversary, fuckers.
Yeah.
Isn't that amazing?
Well, it's not my anniversary.
Okay, it's mostly for
It's
me
yours.
and
It's
Anthony. We've been married since 2015.
7 years. Wow.
It's a 7-year itch. It's not time to get a divorce. Listen, it's
But
been.
do you think podcasts age in dog years?
Oh, maybe. So it's only
So we're like
been 1 year.
49
Have you learned anything this past 7 years, Anthony?
from you?
I don't know, just about in general in podcasting. I don't know. Have we learned anything at all?
No, I think we suck.
Yeah. We didn't learn. It's literally been 7 years of this.
Geek
Yeah.
Boner. Oh, shit.
Just like dumb shit like this.
We use what do you call it? A soundboard.
It's a soundboard.
as if we're 1990s radio shock jocks.
Yeah, what is this? Howard Stern in the mid-90s?
Yeah, what is going on?
Yeah.
You're keeping the dream alive.
It's a style.
Nothing wrong with that.
I told you, I stop at 1999. Anything after that is irrelevant to me. My humor stops there. My references stop there.
Were you hiding in a basement during Y2K? You seem like the type of guy that would have been really freaked out about.
No, I wanted to sell gallons of water that said Y2K safe water on the corner. I was going to do that and see how many idiots picked that up. But I didn't do that. But I winced a little bit as the clock, turned and just like prepared for a second. And then nothing happened. Nothing's going to happen.
Yeah, that's how it goes.
I may
sometimes.
have puckered my asshole for like 30 seconds as the clock was ticking.
But you do that every night.
But you got to do your exercises. It's
butt kegels.
It's butt CrossFit.
I think the most different thing is that Anthony's now old.
Yeah, that's my favorite part of us turning 7 is now he's like the age almost I was when we started. No, that's not true. But
I am older. Yeah, I'm
you're
definitely
closer.
There are
It's like young whippersnappers now,
living
at your heels.
I mean, the whole concept of the show was whatever the hell you are, and so a baby boomer and a millennial.
A Gen Xer,
Gen X,
and a millennial, not baby
not a baby
boomer.
boomer.
That's before me. I'm not that
Right.
old. I look that old.
And now you can't really say. I mean, you could say that, but that's not the opposing opinion anymore.
No, I love it because you are closer to us now than you are them, being the young whippersnappers. It's fantastic.
Yeah, but I still hang out with them.
Yeah, you gotta.
The only time I hang out with people like you and you and your ilk, are Monday nights between 7:30 Central and 10
and
o'clock.
not even in person, just on the computer.
That's by design. I don't want to be with you.
That's how we've remained friends for 7 years. Otherwise, this would have fallen apart a long time ago. Anyways, for the listeners, been with us a year, a month, all 7 years. Thanks for hanging out and sticking around and joining a group and supporting the show. And I blacked out for 6 of those years, so I don't know what happened and how the show gets made every day, every week, every day. That would suck. Every week,
terrible.
but it does. So here's to we're entering year 8.
It's like you don't really want to know
This podcast.
how the sausage is made. You just eat it. And you
Yeah.
just-
Yeah, it's
that's the show.
I think the beauty is that it is only once a week. Because if it was every day, then I don't think we'd be doing this anymore.
Listen, the listener is literally consuming a little bit of my DNA.
I would have gone to
every week.
Imran's house and lit it on fire if we had to do this every day.
And speaking of which, we did do it in person 7 years ago
I remember that.
until I was like, wait a minute, you just keep your ass at home. We just do it over the computer. This is way better this way.
Yeah.
And that's the secret to a long friendship, people. Let
Yeah,
that
don't
see
ever
each
hang
other.
out.
Don't ever see each other. Just listen to each other fucking talk bullshit once a week, and you will have a healthy friendship. Anyways, you bastards, we got a great movie to review and some fun geek news to discuss. Let's do it.
The Jock and Nerd Podcast.
And this first thing is a perfect birthday gift to the podcast. My birthday is also coming up in a few weeks, April 5th. So it's like a little birthday gift to me. What is it? It is the first trailer for the Miss Marvel show from Disney Plus.
Geek Boner.
I give a geek boner already. You know where I stand. I could not be more excited to see the show. I feel seen as a Pakistani American who grew up with immigrant parents and did not become a superhero. It's the only different thing. Oh, and the fact that I'm a boy and she's a girl. That's also different, but it's debatable. Anyways, the first fucking full trailer for Miss Marvel comes out. Who wants to start?
Why don't you start?
Okay, I'll tell you what I liked about the trailer. I liked automatically how, again, this looks like a wildly different tone show from all the Marvel shows we've gotten so far. You know, we're going to get Moon Knight soon. That looks completely different. They're doing a great job at continuing to keep these shows different. And just the whole vibe of it, the blinding lights, weekend song, the doodles that remind me of Scott Pilgrim. You see them praying. You see her kind of, they're changing her powers. Some people are upset. I'm fine with it. You kind of had to. You can't do it the way it is in the comics. But, you know, what attracted me to this comic book, it was like a Peter Parker type story of a kid who's trying to fit in. And the fact that she has 2 lives, like her parents are super religious, so she's hiding to be a superhero, was pretty much exactly how I've grown up my whole life with my mom and my parents. Is you're riding this 2 lives, like you're riding it in the West. You got 1 foot in Eastern culture, 1 foot in Western culture. They take that to a whole new level with the powers. But I thought it looks good. I'm excited. What do you guys think? Anthony, what do you think of this?
Yeah, I mean, it does look, I don't want to say it looks completely different. It looks more like in line with the kind of the Homecoming tone in terms of high school and that kind of feel. So
it's Spider-Man.
Yeah, so I mean, the characters are supposed to be around the same age, so I'm not completely surprised by that. It's nice to see, you know, someone of Pakistani descent.
Brown girls from Jersey.
Yeah, nice. It's nice to see a little different, you know. And I know that character, I haven't read any of the comics, but I know she's very popular in the comics amongst people that still read it. So, you know, it's not simply just a diversity grab.
Correct.
You know, this is a character that had success in the comics. I can't say it's really targeted for me in terms of, I'm not talking about race. I'm talking about just the general tone
it's very teeny.
of high school. Yeah, it's very almost Disney, like Disney Channel. Remember when that was a thing? That's the way it kind of feels. But, you know, it's a new character. I'm open to giving it a shot. It's a well-done trailer in terms of, like, the graphics and the high school and the comic book bubble stuff with the thoughts. So maybe they continue that throughout the show. I wouldn't necessarily mind that. The only other thing I had was, because it's not targeted to me and because it's a character based on a character's obsession with Captain Marvel, which is a movie I didn't really care for upon retrospect. So it's hard for me to get excited about a character that's excited about another character that I don't like.
That's a good point. That's fair. I'll give you that.
But that being said, I'm interested in seeing a new character on screen. So there you go. And I hope it does well.
You know, I hope the cartoony stuff they put, like the drawings on top, is kind of how she sees the world, and I dig that. And she also draws. There's some doodles in the beginning That's a great way to show how her lens. Ruggs, what did you think of this?
I mean, I think this whole thing rides on whether you connect with Kamala and that her story grabs you in some kind of emotional way where you can really connect to her. And you can't get that from a trailer.
No.
You can't.
True.
So just based on the surface level stuff, it doesn't really do much for me. It seems very CW to me.
Ooh.
But yeah, it seems like or something that like CBS when they did Supergirl, like they tried to market it, you know, like whatever. But like, it's fine. I watched Supergirl. It's not like I couldn't connect to Supergirl or anything like that. I watched it, but yeah. So it felt like I can't judge it on the trailer. I think that it looks like it has production value. It looks like, you know, everybody's doing a decent job. It looks like that they really are trying to hit certain things. And let's see how it plays out. I'm like, you know, optimistic about it to a degree, but just like Anthony, it doesn't really feel like something I would tune into. Like I watched Supergirl because I like Supergirl, and you know, I was like, okay, there's things that are here that I could like kind of grab onto, you know, from the DC universe. Melissa Benoist's kind of like eye candy. There's all these other factors that play into why I would watch something that's kind of more like a Gossip Girl or like something that's on a CW. Like, so, yeah, we'll see. We'll let it play out. It's all dependent on her story. Like if her story grabs me, and I kind of know it a little bit because I read the comics, and it's very much in tandem with like a Peter Parker coming of age kind of thing. So, I mean, everybody can get into that at some point. Like that's why Spider-Man's such a strong character, right? Because everybody can see themselves in Spider-Man.
Yep. I mean, it is important that we fall in love with the Kamala Khan character for this show to work. And while, yes, on surface, we see a lot of teenage high school drama, I think what's going to set it apart is there's a lot of cosmic shit going on in this trailer also. Let's talk about her powers. Now, in the book...
Wait, before you get into that, I think that is a good point, but I think what's going to set it apart is it's a coming-of-age story for a character that's we don't often see in Hollywood, which is a Muslim character. I think that's going to be the part that is going to set it apart.
This is the first Muslim superhero, the first Pakistani superhero. Like, holy shit, there's so many things that I'm like blown away that they're doing this. I love the book, of course. But so in the book, she is an Inhuman. The Terrigenesis that swept the world turned her gave her these powers and gave her kind of these stretchy powers where she makes a big fist and she kind of elongates. Now in here, you see her find this old bracelet and she puts it on and it kind of activates her powers. What do you guys have any guesses what this bracelet is? Alien technology? Could it be from?
Probably. It's got that purple energy, so it could be like it could be Kree.
Could be Kree.
Yeah.
There's a thing called quantum bands. There's a thing called nega bands.
It could be though. You know, it could be from Quasar, whatever.
Quasar, yeah.
Queso.
Yeah, queso with chips.
Yeah, it could be that. It could be, I read something online or saw something online where it's purple and it could be the remnants of the Power Stone.
It could be Power Stone. A lot of the energy reminds me also of Ant-Man and the Quantum Realm, as well as Captain Marvel and Monica Rambeau's powers. The energies, you know, her eyes light up like we saw Monica's eyes light up, like Captain Marvel's eyes light up. Of course, she is going to be in the Marvel's movie, Kamala Khan. So, but I love you see her like.
Well, also the obvious one is the movie we just saw, Shang-Chi.
Oh,
I mean, there's
yeah,
in
like
that
the
one.
rings. Yes. Oh my God, like the 10 rings. That is.
Yeah, so it could be that. I mean, it looks like they're pivoting from the Inhuman stuff to basically making her teenage Muslim Green Lantern.
Yeah,
kind of, because you do see her make a giant fist. And
the walking
on the platforms, and when she's jumping, you kind of see her like stretch a little bit, real quick, like she does in the comics. So, I mean, I'm fine with the change because you can't have her be an Inhuman. It's not going to work the way they did it in the comics. They already burned
it doesn't really matter how she gets her power.
No, it doesn't matter.
She gets her powers because either way, she gets it from an accident. You know.
Yeah.
Like she finds something, and she gets it from there, or an accident happens and she gets it. Like. It doesn't really like add any more like challenges to her story. Like you could say that because she could take off the bracelet that, you know, it's not like it's body horror or whatever. Like she can't.
But
like,
was there
for me-
something in her DNA that gets turned
We'll
on
find out,
because
I
of the
guess.
bracelet? Like, was this her destiny? It looks like they're going to go to Pakistan, and part of this scenes looks like a Pakistan at a wedding. She makes the big fist. Here's a quick tip: if you're ever invited to like a Pakistani or Indian wedding, never show up on the start time that is posted in the invitation.
Oh, they're notoriously late.
Oh, yeah. There isn't going to be food for like 3 hours, right? You don't want to be the first one there because you're going to be sitting there drinking fucking soda for like 2 hours before anybody fucking shows up. That's basically how it's gotten a little bit better with this new generation of packet brownies, I like to call them. They're a little bit more on time, but yeah, traditionally you never show up on time because nobody's there. Everybody's always late. It's very annoying. I like to be punctual. I'm trying to help my Pakistani brothers learn
It's your
about
whiteness, Imran.
It is.
You
It's my
you were very punctual.
because my whole life I've wasted time at weddings waiting for the food that doesn't come out till midnight. You fuckers! Why don't you put 7 p.m. on the invitation if nobody got here until 9:30?
He's really mad about this.
Yeah, he is.
Do you know how many hours
Something
of
he
my
feels
life?
very strongly about.
So that's gonna be fun. I also love the last shot where she's sitting on the street lamp and you see the city and she's in her
That's
costume.
right out of a comic.
That's the
book.
cover of like the 5th issue of Miss Marvel. My other question is, will they try to introduce maybe some more Young Avengers in this? Are there going to be Skrulls in the show? You see these 4 individuals kind of shadowing her, chasing her. And we know the Skrulls are involved with the Captain Marvel story over there. So this is all going to lead up to that. It'd be very interesting. June 8th, it will premiere. I think it's also only 6 episodes. They're making these shorter. But yeah, 7 Geek Boners.
Geek boner.
7 Geek Boners for the trailer. Okay,
7? Wow,
No,
you're very excited.
okay. I have one.
Out of what? Out of 10?
Out of 5. No. I will say one. I have one critical thing to say.
Okay.
There's one thing that is I'm a little worried about, and it goes back to us falling in love with the Kamala Khan character, is that Iman Vellani, that she's never acted in her life. I think they just found her on the street or had an open casting call. No other credits. I don't even know she wanted to be an actor growing up. She wasn't really the most convincing in the acting parts in the trailer, like as far as just kind of skill. I know we don't see a lot, but I'm like, I'm not feeling like that charm. And I hope
We will see.
I hope that it's better in the show. It's hard in the trailer.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't.
What do you
We
think of
still
this
have
whole
to-
thing that on Twitter all the stupids come out? So it was like, oh, you had to change her powers because you don't want them to be like Reed Richards, and you're
Is that the reason they're mad?
downplaying. No, I don't know. I just think that I have no idea why they changed her powers.
She has, look, you see her stretch a little bit. You see
I think they tried to make her more like Captain Marvel to keep her in that vein.
it makes sense. She's you could see posters of Captain Marvel everywhere in her room. She adores Captain Marvel. She wants to be in the comics. When she first gets her power, she looks like Captain Marvel. Like she has the form of Captain Marvel before she realizes, oh, I could just look like myself and still do all these things. So she literally turns into Captain Marvel in the comics.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see how she does. I think Marvel understands that this is an important character for them.
Yeah.
Someone that they want around for a long time. So it's not completely unusual. Tom Holland, I don't really think was in much before they cast him.
That's true. But at least he had done a couple of movies, and he was kind of good in those movies, and he had some kind of. And
Did you watch those movies?
I watched the one with the flood, where the tsunami one. But I think he was also like doing Broadway and singing and dancing, or maybe that was somebody else. So
I think he was doing Broadway.
So he clearly had a resume leading up to it.
Resume, yeah.
Iman Vellani's got nothing. Like this is her first role out of nowhere. So hopefully they got good acting coaches on set. That's all I'm saying.
I just felt the one thing I noticed that was kind of weird is it's the way they cut the trailer, because it's clearly not her saying the same line, but they're like, "How does it feel?" And they cut to her in a different scene saying "cosmic."
Oh,
it's like,
right.
And I'm like, in my head, I'm going, I'm not 15 years old, but I don't think kids say cosmic like that. I don't think I don't think they use cosmic to describe anything.
So that was smushed together.
Yeah.
Just to do that. Yeah. Cosmic's not a slang word? No.
I don't think people are saying. Yeah, I don't think people are saying cosmic.
Well, I'm going to start saying
But then
it.
again, I'm double the age of how old she's supposed to be, so who knows? I don't know what the fuck's going on anymore.
I can't wait to see the Pakistani Muslim household
She's
representation.
just gonna say, "How does it feel? It slaps, bro."
It slaps, brah. Big facts.
I mean, that's more in line.
It slaps.
Well, yeah. All right, listener, let us know what you think of this trailer. Join the conversation. Join our Facebook group. It's called Jock and Nerd Nation. You can become a member of the nation. Jock and Nerd. It is an exclusive, closed group just for you. We're all in there. Other listeners, you get to meet a lot of fun people. Link in the show description. Okay, let's move on to this next story that regards Daredevil. Charlie Cox's Daredevil. This website, Production Weekly, that updates about productions in Hollywood starting, has listed a project that just says Daredevil reboot.
Oh, shit.
And that's all. That's all we have to go on. So, but my question is, they don't know if this is a TV show or a movie. My question to you guys is, what do you want to see? Do we want a season 4 of Daredevil, or does this need to be like a season 1, like another new first season of Daredevil?
I think it could be a soft reboot.
Well, how do you do that?
You make a soft reboot.
Like soft serve ice cream? You just, you don't freeze it.
Well, like a soft reboot is kind of like Suicide Squad, the Suicide Squad.
Sure. We have a
It's like
few
you
returning
change-
people. Yeah.
You change it, but you kind of change it, but you don't change it. You know.
Like, is Karen Page going to come back? What about, does he know the other Defenders Saga people? Is that a thing? Obviously, D'Onofrio coming back as Kingpin. Anthony, what would you like to see? Do you want a season 4 or just a season 1 or a movie?
I want a movie.
Oh, shit. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's one of those things where we've seen a really good version of Daredevil on TV. And I know they're not going to go down that path. They're not going to kind of continue that tone. So I'd like to see him in something different. Instead of putting on a TV show and risking the fact that maybe this isn't the same as the Netflix stuff and disappointing. Just do a movie.
That's a good point.
Because at that point, it's going to be completely different, right? You're already going to change the tone, but it's also a different format. I think there's a little more forgiveness in a movie. And we just haven't seen him in his own movie.
I think
like
it would be awesome for Marvel to make their first $50 million movie, or
keep
60
it low budget. You're saying.
make a low budget martial arts film.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to have. It's definitely going to be, the action would be head and shoulders above the show because you have a crazy budget for stunts.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like John Wick level. I'm talking about.
I would be down with that whole tone of.
Because I don't think John Wick
too.
movies are that expensive. I think they're under 100, definitely. So they should just do that. Like, let's go. Let's make some cool action films.
We will see Matt Murdock in She-Hulk and possibly Echo moving forward, but when will we see Daredevil? I don't know. And is he already Daredevil now in the MCU after No Way Home? Or
yeah, he's already Daredevil.
He's out there wearing the suit and doing shit. Nobody's talked about him. Basically, that's it.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, because he shows that he's got powers and he's very confident. So,
who would you like to see as a villain for Daredevil? Well,
D'Onofrio. So, spoilers if you haven't seen Hawkeye, we have a Kingpin who's maybe or maybe not shot in the face and still alive. So, I would like to see D'Onofrio come back. You could take Colin Farrell out of the fat suit and make him Bullseye again. No, don't do that. Just kidding. I don't know. Like,
great answer.
Daredevil. I'd like to see Daredevil and Spider-Man do some things together. But who are some?
I'd like to see Nuke.
Oh yeah, we had a version of that too in the Netflix shows, didn't we?
Was that Nuke?
Yeah, wasn't it?
I don't think
Didn't they do that? Somebody did that.
Was he supposed to be Nuke in Jessica Jones?
That it was in Jessica Jones. Yes, he was because he took a pill.
Oh,
Didn't he take
gotcha.
a pill and get all crazy?
Yeah, you're right. I guess they did do that.
Yeah,
Fuck.
yeah.
I wanted to see Nuke.
Who is other Daredevil's greatest enemies are like
Typhoid Mary.
Typhoid Mary's a good one.
Mr. Fear. They did Typhoid Mary in Iron Fist of all places, which is kind of strange. Yeah. Ikari. The Hand. We already kind of seen some of that
Yeah,
stuff.
we kind of did that. There isn't really, someone that's
Wait, they did
huge.
Typhoid Mary in The Punisher?
No, they did it in Iron Fist.
Oh, Iron
was,
Fist. You're right. Yeah.
What was that
right.
actress's name? Fuck.
You're gonna make me look up Iron Fist.
I forgot about it. Oh my god.
The worst Netflix show of them all.
Yeah, it was bad.
I don't remember I can't remember she was in there. You had Madame Gao.
Alice Eve.
Oh,
Played Typhoid
Alice
Mary.
Eve was in this.
Oh my god.
I've completely forgotten about both. There's 2 seasons of Mary Walker.
I forgot.
No, she was only in the second one.
I can't believe there's 2 seasons of this show, though. I barely remember any of fucking
We
Iron
made
Fist.
ourselves forget.
Yeah. You could bring Electro in and have him fight Daredevil. You could have him fight Spider-Man villains because they kind of cross over and they're both in New York, I guess. I don't know.
Well, you just established that Hawkeye and Kate Bishop are there. That there's like low level stuff happening.
Got
And
Echo now.
You have Echo. You have stuff that's going on that's not being like widely reported or whatever. Just because it hasn't happened in, things happen all over the place that we don't know about. So Daredevil can exist in New York. New York's a big place. He only patrols Hell's Kitchen, which is like 3 blocks.
Right.
And so
Not very large area.
no.
All right. Well, we'll see what happens with that. We're probably years out. And here's something that's probably years out, but this one is for you Godzilla and King Kong fans. Legendary is returning to Australia to film the Godzilla vs. Kong sequel later this year.
Geek boner.
We don't know if it's a Godzilla versus Kong sequel, but it's a sequel in the MonsterVerse. So we don't know exactly.
the next movie after the movies that have come.
Yeah.
And that's really all the news there is. Let me get your level of hype. Are you excited that they're moving forward?
I heard that they're investing like $100 million into the Australian, I guess workforce.
Well, they get
The economy.
Yeah. They get incentives, I'm sure, and tax breaks for filming out there. And this is the 3rd movie that will be filmed out there.
Man,
So is this going to be Monster Island? Because Australia is a giant island.
Or Hollow Earth. We get to see more of Hollow Earth.
I'm interested to see what they come up with. Obviously it's not going to be the most creative thing in the world, but I am interested to see like what, because when Godzilla vs. Kong came out and we were like, wow, this is crazy. Like they made all this money during a pandemic. Well, this is awesome. Even at that moment, I was like, what comes next? And I think they're doing the TV show on Apple
the
TV.
King Kong TV show, right? Or the
I don't know if it's a King Kong.
It was a Godzilla TV show without Godzilla.
Yeah, it's a MonsterVerse TV show.
Right.
But that being said, I was like, what moves the needle? How do you up that? And I still don't know. So I am intrigued because at the end of the day, it's still Godzilla, and I'm going to support anything Godzilla. And I liked Godzilla vs. Kong. I just don't know what's next. I'm curious. I'm very, very curious to see what they have up their sleeve, what monsters they want to pull out of their asshole.
I think you just go round 2 Godzilla versus Kong and just every few years figure out another reason they got to fight. I don't know.
But then you got to add a monster.
And then keep adding one monster
you still got Destroyer.
Destroyer, yeah. I think you got to do...
The Ghidorah head is still out there, isn't it? Wasn't one of them still out there?
Sure.
Yeah. I think you got to do the straight up, this is going to be a tag team matchup.
Oh, that could be good too. Where they're on the same side.
Where they're on, they're right on the same side
You
right
got
from the start.
Gigan and Destroyer. You got Gigan and Megalon. You got Jet Jaguar you could do.
Yeah, but what moves the needle to get people in the
American
seats?
audience? Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, you got the 2 biggest monsters. It's just, I think it's...
So you think it's just them combined again will be like, yep, people want to go out and see it again.
Yeah, I don't really know exactly. I mean, when you watch a Marvel movie, you never know what the bad guy's going to be. You still just go. You're going to see the hero prevail, right? So...
yeah.
So as long as people are in the bag for... You got people Team Kong, people Team Godzilla. If they got to team up, maybe that's kind of cool. They kind of did that in the latest one against Mechagodzilla.
Didn't that movie make the most out of all the MonsterVerse movies so far? Yeah, so you got to bring both back and just mix it up. It's got to be Godzilla Kong again. That's the only thing that will get me to go see it.
McCanny Kong is coming.
Oh, God.
Well, I had this kind of idea that was really wacky. So there's a lot of rumors that this is going to be like Son of Kong, where King Kong goes back into the Hollow Earth and he finds like this like baby Kong and he adopts it. And that could be cool. I think that could possibly narratively be interesting, but how does Godzilla play into it? And if it's just another Kong, it'll kind of be boring.
Give them both children. Godzilla gets a kid too.
Imagine if it's a half Godzilla, half King Kong.
Oh,
baby.
do the hybrid. Oh my God, a Godzilla Kong. What does that look like?
Yeah.
They should just remake King Kong Lives with from 19 like
he
Kurt
just
Russell?
finds-
The one with Kurt Russell?
No, that was the one with Linda It was like one of the worst movies of all time.
Oh.
That's why Linda Hamilton was in it. It was King Kong's son. King Kong, it was a female Kong, a male Kong, and his son.
Whoa.
I have
It was one
a
of the worst
feeling there's
movies
going to
ever.
be a female kaiju.
Yeah.
Well, they already had one, right? Mothra?
No, but I mean like a female, like a counterpart.
Oh.
Like
Like
somebody,
a female Godzilla.
Yeah, or a female
Kong.
Kong.
Yeah, I really don't know where they're going to go with it. I'm not like super excited, but I'm not like this is going to be complete shit either. I'm like, all right. How
You
long can
want
they
to know
milk
something
this?
as fucking much fun of we make of Adam Wingard and how like flippant he is about this whole shit and how he doesn't care. He just wants to do cool shit.
Yeah.
Whenever they show clips of that, like every shot is fucking gorgeous. Like every shot of that fucking movie is fucking great. Like there's just so many fucking great shots. So if they can keep up that level of cinematography and like epicness, like I'm totally down for it. I like that spectacle. I thought it was a great
It
spectacle.
was a lot of fun.
I thoroughly enjoyed it.
If you
Yeah.
just take out all of the people parts, this movie's great. It's very entertaining. You don't
Well,
need the
just,
people
like,
parts.
Don't make it so stupid.
Yeah.
Like, they gotta like, I think they cut out so much stuff all the time that's essential, and then it just ends up looking really dumb.
Yeah,
So
don't
they should
make
just
it,
kind of know what to keep and know what not to keep.
But the people got dumber and dumber as the movies went. Every movie,
Yeah, it's
They were,
very much like
smart
this
at the
has to
beginning.
happen for the plot to continue.
Yeah, and then by that Godzilla vs Kong, it's just ridiculous. Like, you just cut it all out. Just show me them fighting. Fuck. Well, they're making it. We're gonna get more
Yeah, I'm excited.
American legendary kaiju Godzilla movies. That's a good thing. Okay. There's been some early internet reactions to two things, comic book things that are soon to be coming out very soon. The first one, Moon Knight, is coming out March 30th. So next week, it will premiere 6 episodes on Disney Plus. The episode runtimes have been revealed because critics had been sent the first 4 episodes, and they're long. Episode 1, episode 4 gets longer and longer. It's like 45 minutes, 50 minutes, 51 minutes. So this being 6 hours, at least they're giving us a big chunk at a time. And most of the early reactions have been very positive. And there's a lot of clips out. I don't know if you guys have watched any of these clips they've been putting out, or you just kind of want to wait. But the tone of this is amazing. You see Khonshu. There's a great horror jump scare vibe. You get a little bit of like an Indiana Jones adventure type flair all smushed together. Some critics saying the best Marvel TV show yet. What is your level of geek boner?
Geek boner.
Anthony, for the show, and have you seen any of this?
No, I actually hadn't. Where did you just saw this online that there's
Yes,
people already
I have
what have they
links.
seen? The first 2,
Let's see
3?
the first 4 sent to reviewers, not us, mind you.
You know, I what I'll say is, I think the best show they've done. This is just my opinion. Is WandaVision.
I agree.
I think they've had a little bit of trouble. They've definitely had trouble closing out these shows, and coming off of Hawkeye, which I thought was okay, not the best, and I didn't like the ending. Them saying like the first few episodes are great is good. Like I'd rather hear that than them say the opposite. But I want to see like if they can close the show on one of these things and actually do a whole entire season, because to me, ever since WandaVision, like WandaVision was like this moment in time where Marvel had released something for the first time in a year. It was their first foray into TV, and that buzz weekly was just insane.
It was great.
I thought,
Yeah,
it was, and they haven't been able to capture that since.
Yeah, not really.
WandaVision, like no one's really talking about these shows weekly unless you're just super into the
Loki
nerddom.
maybe got close, but no, you're right.
Maybe the end Loki like had a reveal that meant a lot.
Yeah.
But they haven't been able to capture that, and they haven't been able to create a show that people are talking about is like in like high regard since that WandaVision that few weeks in WandaVision. So I'm coming into this with, yes, I'm down to learn about a new character because I don't know anything about Moon Knight, but I'm also like, just I want to prove it to me. I want to see it.
No, and they do have to prove it to us. Ruggs, what did you think? Have you seen these clips? Are you digging? Like,
yeah, I saw something from the Real Rejects. Give them a shout. They saw it and they were like pumped about it, and they're usually pretty critical. So I'm like, okay, that's interesting. That makes me feel like a little more enthusiastic about it. So I'm looking forward to this. I like Moon Knight. I always like Moon Knight. So I'm excited to see what they do. I know it's going to veer away from the comic a little bit, but I feel like at least they're trying to kind of make this like this tone where it's kind of almost a horror vibe, like where you can see like, Werewolf by Night pop in there or something. Like I feel like that's cool.
Yeah, like the Midnight Suns vibe is definitely. And no, this I'm really pumped because like these clips and the suit looks great. Here's why I think this is hitting and for a lot of people, because if you think about it, all the Marvel Disney Plus shows so far have had to set up other things, which is kind of the purpose for the show, right? All of them are like trying to push things forward. Oscar Isaac said he was attracted to this because this is in the MCU, but it has no connection to anything. It takes place in London. It's not in a city that like any of the other movies have really been in or TV shows. And he said it's its own thing. And Oscar Isaac, like the performance he's giving in these clips, he's so good. I can't wait to watch him. I think he's going to be amazing. I did learn the British accent that he's doing. Turns out it was his idea. And he said,
he's got the stuff. You could tell in this trailer.
For the Stephen Grant, there's a Mark Spector personality who's like the mercenary, and the Stephen Grant is like the museum guy. So he does a British accent, and he has said that Kevin Feige actually told him that he didn't think Oscar Isaac knew what he was doing and that the accent wouldn't work. But it turns out Feige was wrong, and the accent, he says, is very good. So the choices he makes, the fucking suit, like I think this is going to be up there with the WandaVision, hopefully. But I
hope so.
I feel it.
I'm looking at these, and they're definitely hyping up Oscar Isaac as being an awesome addition. So
yeah, I mean, look, he's no Iman Vellani, but that's what I'm saying. Is we got Oscar Isaac leading this thing and doing multiple personalities and just the trippiness, the darkness. I can't wait for this. F. Murray Abraham will be voicing the Egyptian god Khonshu.
Oh, shit.
I love F. Murray Abraham. He's great in dramatic roles.
Who is he?
Well, he was in Amadeus. He's Salieri. And in Silicon Valley, he's great. I don't think you would know him from anything, but he is a fantastic, well-rounded
No, he's not
actor.
in Silicon Valley. He's in that other thing, Myth Quest.
Oh,
or something.
sorry. It's a different version
Mythic
of Silicon
Quest.
Valley. Mythic Quest. He's in Mythic Quest on Apple TV Plus. He's done tons of movies. A great kind of character side actor, but and the Khonshu looks great. There's a clip where you kind of see him appearing, and Ethan Hawke has a staff, and there's powers, and it looks nuts, and there's pyramids. Looks crazy. Like they filmed everywhere in the desert. Can't wait. Okay.
They didn't go to Egypt. Shut up.
They didn't go to Egypt, but they went somewhere where there was
filmed
sand
everywhere.
and maybe a pyramid. Maybe
They filmed most of that on the Atlanta backlot studio.
but it takes place in London. It could have been filmed in London, or it's Atlanta.
Some of it was probably
It's probably
Atlanta,
Maybe they used the volume from Mandalorian, and all of it is just on a big backlit screen. Listener, grab some Jock and Nerd swag. Shop and Nerd. If you want to celebrate our 7th anniversary with us, visit jockandnerd.com/shop, where you can get wonderful tees and hoodies and tank tops and cell phone cases, mugs, pillows, tote bags, laptop cases.
Shop and Nerd.
Shop and Nerd. All with our logo or Rug Boy's face. Different colors. Check it out. Link in the description. Okay, last thing, early reactions for is the other big comic book movie coming out the same week, like 2 days after.
Is it even fair calling this big?
Well, it's not big. It is the comic for us. It's our next.
It's that same week, huh?
Yes, it's like 2 days after Moon Knight comes out, and it is Morbius, starring
Mobius.
the Jared Leto. This one, critics the opposite of the Moon Knight.
They're like, they're saying it's not. It's more BS.
It is more BS. There's the joke. Oh shit!
lame.
There's the dad joke. Who's got the dad jokes now? It's definitely more BS. Basically, the gist is what I've seen together is that if you enjoyed the Venom movies, that's how you're going to enjoy this movie. So I'm going to go in with lowered expectations, and maybe I'll be pleasantly surprised. They did put out a final
Jared
trailer.
Leto can't catch a break, I guess.
I mean, he was in Gucci.
Well, whatever.
Batsuit.
You know, he's got, genetics and stuff. So he's like 50 years old. He looks like he's 30. So, I mean, I think that God blessed him enough. Like, his career is just going to suck.
He is almost 50, isn't he?
He does look great.
Yeah. It's like, you got to make a trade-off.
I mean, his choices in terms of superhero movies have been tough.
Yeah.
To be the Joker in Suicide Squad after Heath Ledger.
Yeah. That's a rough.
That's a tough ask. And then Morbius, not for Marvel, but for Sony's Marvel, is also a very, you thought this was the franchise?
Do you think he would have been a good Doctor Strange or no?
Oh, Jared Leto is straight? No, absolutely not.
Couldn't pull it off?
No. Not. I mean, I can't even picture that after what Cumberbatch has done.
What would Jared Leto be good as?
I think Morbius might be it. Unfortunately.
Craven? No.
Craven?
No, he can't be. He's too skinny.
Oh, we got Aaron Taylor Johnson over there.
No, that's not a good cast either.
Anyways, it's another Sony Spider-Man-less Spider-Man verse movie, and the trailer reminds us that Michael Keaton is in this. Oh, by the way, Matt Smith is also in this for a brief second, in case you forgot. Here's the thing, though. The Morbius character it's fascinating. I love the aspect of this is a doctor who fucked with his body, experimented with himself in order to help other people, right? He's truly trying to help. And now he can, except he also has this insatiable urge to kill people and drink their blood. And he's got to fight these two urges. Otherwise he'll die, right? If he doesn't drink the blood, he'll die and he won't be able to help people, but he can help people only if he drinks blood. That is a great inner conflict. Hopefully.
Let's see them ruin it.
Yeah. Hopefully they're probably going to ruin it. No doubt.
Seems like a movie that should have been made in the 80s.
I mean, the Venom movies are throwback movies too. So,
a doctor that wants to help people that becomes a vampire,
right?
And now wants to help people but needs to also eat them. That's straight out of the fucking 80s.
That's why that's
from the time where it's just like, come up with a dumb idea. All right, let's film it.
Yeah, here it is. Here's the money. Go shoot this. Yeah.
Sounds like a movie. Make it.
And it's, how are they going to deal with Spider-Man in this? Which Spider-Man? How do you...
They say that Spider-Man's in it.
So the director has said something. He came on this article real vague saying how, if there's in every universe, there is a Spider-Man. And if there's a spider totem in every multiverse, there's going to be a Spider-Man in every universe. So essentially saying he is in this universe, but... which Spider-Man is it? This is the same Venom universe. There's a poster of Tobey Maguire Spider-Man in one of the trailers. I don't know. But we're going to find out.
To be Andrew, whatever his name is.
Andrew Garfield.
The thing is, too, is if you want to watch this for the ramifications of what it means for Sony and Spider-Man, we literally just saw Venom 2 where they did this big reveal and it goes, Venom in the MCU, and then the next Spider-Man movie they go Venom.
Just kidding.
Not in the MCU anymore. We just want the symbiote.
Yeah,
they don't really want Tom Hardy here.
They just wanted the black goo.
So if you're on that path of this is all connected, that would make me go, oh, this doesn't mean shit to MCU stuff, because if MCU is just going to take if they try to force it into the MCU is just going to be like, we'll just take what we want out of this character and we'll send you right back.
Yeah, pretty much. So I'm going in expecting something on par with the Venom movies, maybe a little bit better, but not much.
Yeah, that's, I think, a good expectation.
Right, I think that's the way you got to walk in. April 1st, don't forget to buy your tickets. I'm sure there'll be plenty available. There'll be plenty of room, plenty of seats. Won't be sold out, pretty sure. But
safe bet.
But hey, let's do it. I guess Morbius. Look, you get a good one. We got 2 good ones. Then we're gonna get an okay one.
Yeah,
then
that's fine. I'm fine with that.
Then we hit back with Doctor Strange and Thor: Love and Thunder and better one, right? So it peaks and valleys of what we're gonna enjoy. All right.
Well, I don't even consider this like MCU, like the Sony verse in my.
Yeah.
I made this special place in my head where Sony stuff really doesn't make it to anything.
Where does it live, though? That's the confusing part. I mean,
it lives in this pocket reality similar to Peacemaker's dad.
Oh, I guess in that closet,
all those suits
where all his weapons are. Yeah. I mean, they're doing Kraven. They're just continuing to make these movies. At some point, you got to have Spider-Man fucking show up in one of these movies.
Yeah, I mean, the what's going to make this? Granted, they've done really well with Venom, so that being they like those movies have made them money, so bravo, I guess, to them. But what's really going to make people excited about this stuff is if they negotiate a deal with Andrew Garfield to come back and do a movie.
They like a lot of these characters are like Morbius doesn't need to be tied to Spider-Man, which I think is fine. But Venom is. And if they're and Kraven is.
So this is what I'm really confused about, because Venom is kind of like an anti-hero, bad guy, good guy. You can play it off that way. Morbius, same thing, bad guy, good guy, 2 sides, anti-hero. Kraven is are they going to try to make him like a hero or anti-hero? He's a straight up bad guy. What are you going to do with that? Like, I don't want to see Kraven turned into everybody's get turned into an anti-hero. They should have done the
Black Cat. Because the Black Cat,
that would have made more sense.
She exists, and then she runs into Spider-Man. Like, she's already doing it. She's doing her thing. And Silver Sable is a mercenary, and they could have done a twofer. They were going to do that, right? Wasn't that on the table at one point?
Yeah, it was
Silver
a Silver
Black. That makes way more sense than doing a Kraven the Hunter movie without Spider-Man, where you can't even do like the Kraven's Last Hunt, but he's a full-on bad guy as your. I don't know. It's just
you're not that guy, pal. You're not that guy.
No. Sony.
Yeah, I just think Kraven.
Good luck.
I don't know. I just think doing a solo Kraven movie is so dumb.
Good luck to us all Spider-Man fans. Thanks, Sony. All right, let's take a quick break here. We'll play some promos. We're going to come back and review one of my all-time favorite comedy movies of all time. I already said all time. Did I mention it's all time? Right after this.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
Check out what's been going on with the Pop Culture Cosmos Show and the PCC Multiverse.
I see the potential for basically like another Netflix kind of paradigm shift where here comes this other major player. They have a ton of resources. Apple could change the way that entertainment is consumed.
They say it's the only time this year that you'll have stars from each brand battling each other, and we know it's not going to be the case, but they like to say that, and more power to them, I guess.
Well, it's a big first step, bringing all those superheroes together. There were definitely some parts of the movie that I really enjoyed, and then there were some parts that I thought just kind of fell short of expectation.
Part of it has to be something to do with how it's being promoted, and this is a thing where audiences do not agree with critics.
That's the Pop Culture Cosmos Show.
And the PCC Multiverse, every week on Apple Podcasts.
And over a dozen of your favorite streaming and podcasting options.
Hey there, everyone. Brian here, host of TV Trivia Pod. It's a trivia-style podcast focusing on TV and movies. Listen in for questions like, what's the name of Michael Scott's screenplay? What do you say to view the Marauders map? And what's everyone eating in the post-credit scene of Avengers? Play along to TV Trivia Pod anywhere you get podcasts. And stay tuned for more trivia.
Doc and Nerd.
Listener, if you enjoy the show, and if you've been enjoying the show for all 7 years, God bless you. Join our fan club. Visit jockandnerd.com/Patreon.
Jock and Nerd.
Where you can support the show on a monthly or annual basis. Huge thank you to our newest $10 a month patron, Colby Long.
Whoa.
Yeah. Thank you for joining this fan club, Colby. That's amazing.
That's amazing. I don't even know who is he.
I thought you were saying Cole belong.
Cole belong. No.
Like it was like a compliment.
Cole belong. No, Colby as in Colby Jack cheese. And long as in the opposite sides of my penis. It's Colby Long. We don't know him. I've never
Jesus
interacted.
Christ. You're a new member and you're already comparing his last name to your dick.
It's tradition. We have to make fun of the name.
Initiate the guy. You gotta bring him
we
in.
have to bring it in. Yeah.
I mean, if he's giving us money, he's got to know at this point that was
That's
coming.
what you pay for. Is when I compare your name to my dick. Colby Long, thank you so much. Colby is now enjoying bonus content. For example, Anthony put up a review of a movie. Well, I put it up. He sent it to me. I have to do all the work. But Anthony, what was your movie, Patreon-only movie review was for what movie?
Rambo First Blood.
Oh, shit.
Rambo First Blood and, the 1982. And I got more in the till soon.
You're going through a little bit of an 80s action binge. I love it.
I should do this too because I'm watching a lot of old 80s movies. And I should just
Send in a
make
thing
reviews.
right afterwards. Jesus, what are you doing?
Easy. I wouldn't call it like a review per se. It was just like 9 minutes where 9 minutes where I talk about it. It's not a full on review. It's I watch the movie and then I just give my immediate thoughts. So it's a little bit closer to a like instant reaction from a movie.
No, it was very good. I listened to it. That was the first time you've seen First Blood, right?
It was. I was surprised when I watched the movie. I was like, "Yep, I've never seen this in my life."
Nothing is over.
I haven't seen this movie in years, but I was like little and I saw it. There's two parts of this movie that have stuck with me my whole life. The first one is like when he gets the ride over the bridge and he gets out of the car and then just starts fucking walking back.
Yeah.
Right? And the guy's like, what the fuck? This motherfucker.
Brian Dennehy.
Yeah, Brian Dennehy's like, get out of town. And he gets out and just walks back. I was like, oh, fuck. And then the other thing I've always remembered is when he is stitching himself up in the woods
graphic.
by himself. I was like, oh, that is ingrained in my head because it looks so fucking painful.
He has the stitching kit, I guess you would call it, in his knife.
Oh, that's right. That knife was that knife you could buy. I wanted that knife because there was a compass.
Knife,
there was a compass in it, and there was shit you could put in the handle.
Yeah, there were. I think I did some research where it was like knife sales went up.
Yep, they did.
This fucking movie.
It is a great movie. It's like
it's actually really good.
You know?
I was very, very impressed.
To Stallone's credit, the start of the Rocky and Rambo franchises are great, and then it quickly goes downhill. And they're still fun movies, but very sharp decline after the first one of both of those. I don't know what happens.
Nothing's hard. Nothing.
So
they drew First Blood, not me.
Colby will be enjoying that and getting the show a little bit early. And Colby will be able to join us for our monthly Discord hangouts. This month's hangout is, as the show posts, tomorrow, Thursday, March 24th, 8 p.m. Central U.S. time. So hope to see you there. It's a lot of fun. People always stop by. And then Colby also, since he's a $10 a month patron, I sent him a message. He gets to pick any movie for us to review. He can force us to watch and review any movie, and we will do this on the main feed here or on Patreon. It's the
Colby, you pick a shitty movie, and we're just doing it on Patreon. I'm telling you right now.
Depends on the movie, I guess. Where it ends up.
That's our policy. If you want us to do it on the regular show, it's got to be something that we think that people are going to want to listen to.
Listen, either way, Colby, you're going to hear it. We're going to do it. You're going to hear it. You're going to have access to it. That's what gets you in the fan club.
Just don't pick a Sinbad movie.
Jockandnerd.com. That movie doesn't exist. Oh, no, that's the Kazam. That's the other movie with Shaq.
Bernstein Bears.
But it was Bernstein. Jockandnerd.com/Patreon. Sign up today. Speaking of the You Pick a Tier, that brings us to this week's movie review. This one is sponsored by another new patron, Trenton Smith, who's been a patron for all of 1 month. Signed up for the $10 a month ago. Welcome, Trenton T. Smith. T. Smith has picked the brilliant 2006 comedy Idiocracy. Here's your spoiler alerts for a 16-year-old movie.
Strap yourselves in, you fucks. Spoiler time.
And again, this is another birthday present to the nerd right here. This is probably one of my favorite fucking comedy movies ever. I am so excited we get to talk about this. On Rotten Tomatoes, the movie currently sitting at 73%, 6.4 out of 10 average rating. This is obviously clearly a low-budget movie. And we'll get into how the studio treated this movie after we talk about it, because it's kind of crazy. The budget of this movie, somewhere around $2 to $4 million. Not a lot of money. Now, the studio didn't know what to do with this movie. They didn't even make a trailer for this movie. They didn't screen the movie. They only put it out in 130 theaters nationwide. This thing, box office total, ends up being $495.
Wow.
Not million. $495,000.
It's terrible.
$500,000. It makes like 124,000 opening weekend. It does go on to make $9 million in DVD sales.
Oh shit!
Which
DVD,
is
wow.
Yeah, this was the time. It was the DVD boom. So basically, nobody saw this movie in the theater. Everybody saw it later on DVD.
Yeah, you heard about this movie with someone like word of mouth,
Yeah.
and then you're like, oh, did anybody see this fucking movie? And so like, yeah, it was like one of those things that you had to hear about it from someone else.
Apparently, even on the ticketing sites back in the day, it was listed as Untitled Mike Judge movie. They didn't even put the fucking title. And I'll explain why they were afraid of this movie. This movie is directed, story by, and produced by Mike Judge, and then Ethan Cohen helping on the screenplay. Mike Judge, of course, famous for Office Space, King of the Hill, Beavis and Butthead, and creating and directing a bunch of episodes of Silicon Valley on HBO. All great shit. Anthony, had you ever seen this movie before?
No.
Oh, wow.
I've only heard you quote it
This
or
is great.
reference it
Yes.
all the time. You never quote it. You just reference it all the time.
It became a cult hit, and I loved Mike Judge. Everything he wanted to do, I would check out. He does another movie after this, not as good. But okay, first time watching this, Anthony, tell us what happens in Idiocracy.
This is a movie where the army, the military, comes up with some sort of technology to preserve people, and they take this completely average soldier and this prostitute, and they preserve them, or they put them in this machine for what's intended to be a year, but that building that they're in is a secret facility and it gets destroyed, and they happen to wake up 500 years later where society is just completely different and very stupid, and they wake up as the smartest people on earth and have to figure out what the hell's going on.
Yes, great premise. Now, before I ask you what you thought about this in 2022, watching it for the first time, here's the weird thing about this movie. It is a movie that hits differently when it came out versus now. This is a 2006 comedy that pretty much goes on to be a documentary in 2022, right? So you had to watch this in 2006 and laugh and be like, ha ha ha, that's dumb, 500 years. And what happens? A lot of shit that happens in the movie took only about 10, 15 years for the shit to happen.
Right, pretty much.
Crazily.
I'm waiting for those toilet seats to come out.
There's a couple. We'll go through all the things it predicts. So watching it then and watching it now, like rewatching it again, I found it just as funny, but also really like depressing and sad in a way that how things have transpired. Anthony, coming out of this, what did you make of this? How did it hit you?
Well, like I said, I've never seen this movie. I know you like this movie, so that might have played a little bit into it, but I think this is genuinely how I feel about this movie. I think this movie is not that great. I think it's actually kind of stupid. I think this isn't at all indicative of Mike Judge's work. I think Office Space is a much better movie, and I didn't think it was that funny. So I didn't like it that much at all, to be honest with you. I thought the movie was.
I
actually,
knew that was going to happen. By the way.
I thought the premise right away offended me because it basically was like stupid people are in the future are going to sound like black, Hispanic, or hillbillies. So right off the premise for me is like, oh, that's what you think stupid people sound like? Okay. That's not at all. That to me doesn't age very well at this moment. So I think all the like predictions of this is how it is right now, I think that's all just a narrative that everyone like has put together to make it like more relevant to today. But I didn't find it very funny, and I didn't think it was actually all that clever. So sorry, Imran.
No, but it does like there is the argument of is this just a dumb movie or is it prophetic? So there is two sides of this, and it is.
I don't see the propheticness.
Well,
of it at
look,
all.
this is what happened: is that where everything kind of goes off the rails. Okay, so the idea was this movie comes out and was made in probably 2005.
Yeah, it sat on the shelf for like a year.
Okay,
Yeah.
or maybe even 2004.
Yeah,
this is before YouTube is a thing, Facebook is a thing, iPhones are a thing. Any of the technology that, if they would have had even an inkling of that, I think the movie would have been very different. But this is before any of that explodes onto the scene, right? So they had no idea that the society was going to go from being the trajectory of being stupid and focused on violence and sex. And because what happened is in that particular moment in time, hip hop culture, gang culture, all that stuff was kind of like only in the inner city started to spread out and become part of regular, like mainstream culture. And there was this thing, everybody's getting dumbed down. We're watching like, people like the World Star Hip Hop, all those videos were coming out, all that stuff.
World Star. Yeah.
Yeah. So where people were like punching people randomly.
Yeah, that's
or
out my
fights.
balls. How is that not out my balls?
So I feel like they were going off that, but they couldn't predict how it would take a hard left with social media. So what happened was instead of the world turning like into this dumb, violent place, it became an ultra sensitive place. It became an ultra politically correct place. It veered into a different area where there's still stupidity out here, but it's masked in like brainwashing that you like, where you're like, you think that you're really smart, but you're actually just like basically, as we know from all these algorithms, kind of being pushed into directions by different algorithms, like whether you pushes you to be more political and not really see the other side or know how to find facts or whatever and this and that, or like confirmation bias, echo chamber, stuff like that. So that's where we actually ended up. We didn't end up being like, this is 500 years from now, but they were saying in this movie, but just the idea of the future going in that direction, I don't think it will unless computers completely cease to exist. Because now we have this nonstop technology that gives us all this information whenever we want it. So I think that Judge missed the mark because of that like leap in technology in the other direction. So everybody's not dumb. You know what I mean? And so people can get offended when you think.
Though? I mean, some of that, it has depreciated.
But look,
I don't know about that.
But it is, it's the intent is right, but it doesn't play well because yes, people are watching, attention spans are getting smaller and smaller, and they're watching TikTok videos and long form stuff. Like podcasts are still popular though. So like you have this kind of like dichotomy of like, yes, there is a short attention span for certain things, but there still is an attention span that can be where you have like, the most engaging public figure is like Joe Rogan's podcast that has like 20 million people listening. And that's like a 2-3 hour show. So it's harder to like pin down the future now.
Well, people binge like Netflix shows too, and they don't complain about that.
Let me just say this. I don't criticize the film for how prophetic it's going to be. Like that film,
it'd be more funny. It would be more funny if it was on the nose, but it would be
more funny. But you can't like judge I can't be like, man, Mike Judge didn't know that 15 years after this movie was made that it would be like this. Like I can't criticize that. I just didn't think it was that funny, and I thought it was in poor taste and hasn't aged well.
I'm going to disagree. It is dumb. It is dumb, but I think it's utterly funny and it's offensive. And
I think it's a great picture of the time before the internet started to change everything. Like how people thought, how people spoke. Like, if you were smart, you were like being a nerd was bad. Being smart was bad.
The whole gist is like if you're the smart kid, people would beat you up because you were the smart nerdy kid.
You were lame because you were smart.
And the internet has dumbed down the English vocabulary and added these words, and people don't pay attention to what's going on around them anymore because they're all on their phones. Like there's a bunch of things. But Anthony, you didn't think the beginning was clever commentary with the one smart couple who keeps waiting to have a baby? Meanwhile,
yeah, I mean, I thought it was like it's on the surface, it is funny like that. I thought that was funny, but also like if you really wanted to dig in and like, I know this movie's not trying to make you dig in, but if you want to go into like, oh, this was such a prophetic movie, well, the reason that stupid people, quote unquote, have so many kids is because they often don't have the means or the access to like necessary contraception, sexual prevention, not medications, but condoms, all that kind of stuff. So that it's not really because they're stupid that they're having all these kids. It's because they don't have access to things.
The guy goes, I thought you were on the pill or some shit. And she's like, hell no. It just keeps dropping babies. I mean,
it's funny. Like I thought on the surface, it's like, it's just amusing. I just didn't. Go ahead. You guys love it. So keep going.
Well, one of the things that I thought was always great was that a celebrity became president, and that's exactly what happened with Trump.
Kind of happened. President Hector Camacho. His full name is fantastic. President Dwayne Elizondo Mountain Dew Herbert Camacho, wrestling champion, ex-porn star, played wonderfully by Terry Crews. I was like, oh my God, that's Terry Crews, the host of America's Got Talent. He's so wholesome on that show. I forgot that he could do stuff like this. But just the setup, like the way they show society crumbling, like how Fuddruckers it turns into buttfuckers, which is fucking funny. He does say, like you said, the English deteriorates into a hybrid of hillbilly, valley girl, inner city slang, and various grunts. And I mean,
I like grunts. Those are fun.
Various grunts, like the hospital. Justin Long's doctor is hilarious. He's smoking a blunt, and he's like, "Says here your shit's all fucked up." It's like, "What's up, SA? How's it going?"
I did like the hospital scene where she's trying to figure out what button to push for this guy, and he's like naming all these things,
she keeps
and she's
moving
just
her
like,
finger.
It's overwhelming, so she just pushes something. Like there are little clever moments like that. I'll give it that.
The fact that Brondo, this corporate sports drink company, has bought the FCC and the FDA and replaced water with Brondo everywhere, and that's why they can't figure out the plants grow. Like that shit is funny, and they just keep repeating the fact that there's logos, corporate logos everywhere, and they're all like the president, vice president's like brought to you by Carl's Jr. I gotta say that. It's on my
Well, yeah.
contract.
Another thing is that like people just. And another thing that's happened is that people just start dressing very, very casually.
Yeah.
Like everybody's in pajamas.
Yeah, there's no,
and
like-
that's happened.
yeah.
Like that's happened. Like people just go out in sweats all the
There's
time.
no
Like
formal wear anywhere.
like they're like I would never in my life have gone to like a white tablecloth restaurant in sneakers and sweatpants, but people do it now. They do. There's no compunction about it. That's fine, and I'm not like judging it, but I'm just saying like the back in those days, it was just like you didn't do that. There was like dress codes to go to like certain clubs. You couldn't even go in.
You think about like
shoes
in the 30s and 40s, people wore suits to go to like a baseball game and hats and ties, and like they had to wear a suit to go anywhere. And like now we've come to this. A couple other details about the future that are hilarious. The #1 TV show called Ow My Balls. #1 movie in the country. It's just called Ass. And it's just a shot of someone's ass for like 3 hours.
Farting.
Yes.
I did enjoy that when the Ow My Balls guys brought out to sing the national anthem, and then someone jumps out and kicks them in the balls.
in the nuts.
I like when they're walking through the Costco, and the thing that Costco's huge, and you could get your fucking your degree there.
He goes, I went to law school here. Well, you can take the shuttle. I like money though. Well, I like money.
Every place had some kind of like hand job or some kind of like sexual thing.
Gives hand jobs. He's like, I don't think we have time for a hand job right now, Joe. But the hilarious thing is like all these corporate logos, the companies let them use them in the movie, but they didn't know that he was just gonna fucking make fun of them.
See, that's the thing that the reason why some of this stuff doesn't work is because like in the 90s into the early 2000s, sex was so big as far as actually fucking people was like there was the porn boom, the stripper boom, where people were like, it was just like in everyone's face all the time. And now, and even during those days when there was something like kind of like AOL online dating, like people would never sink so low to go online to find a date. Now, people not only are online finding dates, like no problem, but they're actually having virtual relationships where they never actually see each other, never ever actually fuck each other. So it's completely different. It's like we're almost in a sexless society. It's a pseudo sex society.
Yeah, some things went a different way.
So like it's like weird to say, oh, you'd walk, but if things were going the way that they were, yeah, you'd walk into a fucking Starbucks
Get a hand job.
and there'd be fucking porn there or something. I don't know. Like it was just going in that direction.
I love how Rita gets the guy to pay her just to wait. He's like, I can wait so good, baby. I'll wait till tomorrow. And she's like, you're on the clock. One of my favorite visual gags is the billboard for the cigarettes. And it says, if you don't smoke tarlatans, fuck you. I just love how just profanity is just normal everywhere in commercial advertising. There's a masturbation network. That's another great line where he goes, go away, Baton.
Yeah, so like that's kind of off too, because instead of being in a where like you say whatever you want and no one gives a shit, like now you have to watch everything that you say because you know there's so many things that you can't say.
But that joke is like in that future, everyone is just an asshole, right? Everybody's an asshole. There's no sense of decorum. I do also love the concept of in this future, you just have to lie to people and they just take you at face value because everyone is so dumb. Like his escape out of the prison, he just goes, oh, actually, I'm supposed to be getting out of prison today. The guy's like, go over there, dumbass, you're in the wrong line. And he just you just lie to
You're
anyone.
too dumb to outsmart people.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's stuff. I mean, I found that to be entertaining. I mean, the liberal use of how he speaks being FG.
Yeah, they use that a lot.
That doesn't age very well. That wasn't great even at that time.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, the liberal use of retarded. I was just like, this movie.
Yeah, but people didn't care. That's the thing. Yeah. People did not care.
Well, I know
least.
that. But what I'm saying is he was predicting that this was how it was going to
get worse.
Yeah.
But we did get more PC instead.
Yeah.
That is one of the things that it went the other way. Not everything, but a lot of things did.
I don't agree. I don't agree that much of anything went the way you think it went.
I will cite some things in a little bit.
Well, I think this is what I do kind of see. There is we didn't lose intellectuality. The essence of being like intellectual is like to actually have like your own thoughts and to kind of be able to think critically about things and have something to say. And people do, but I also think that a lot of that is programmed as well. It's programmed intelligence. So it's like you know things, but you know things that are kind of forced onto you in a way, or you're being bombarded with things that you don't even know if it, like what to trust. Like there's so many people that are arguing all the time, right?
Right.
And there's like a whole wave of people that think, vaccines are fucking gonna kill you, or blah blah blah.
They are.
Weird, whatever, or all these conspiracies, right? There's clearly like people who think that they know shit that don't know what's going on. So so we're not dumber in the fact that we could, it's just a strange way. I can see how it's insulting to somebody like now to watch that movie because we're in a completely different place right now and we're far away from this kind of future. So it's insulting. You're like, oh, this is what you think the future is going to be. But I can also see that there is some truth to the fact that people who are generally more kind of conservative or not conservative, but like more cautious about like their careers and more kind of like have less kids. And there's some truth to that. Whether they have access to all this stuff, whatever. So I do think that, okay, there's different things that he was hitting on and that were on, but like there was also places where he's completely off. And so it's kind of rough because the jokes are more funny when they're true.
Right.
And so that's where it doesn't age well. It was funny. I thought it was way funnier when it came out than when I watched it this time.
I will kind of agree to that.
I could see myself thinking that if I watched it at the time that it was like a genius movie.
I thought it was brilliant. But then watching it again, I did feel like some of it didn't age great, but the performances, Luke Wilson, Maya Rudolph they're funny. Dax Shepard as Frito is hilarious. But there were parts of it that the movie's not really
here's the thing about the movie. It's not really centered around amazing performances, awesome plot.
Right.
It's really centered around the gimmick,
It's
right?
It's kind of a one-note gimmick that's repeated over and over again.
Right. So it's centered around the gimmick of the future is stupid. Look how dumb it's gotten.
Welcome to Costco. I love you.
But if you don't find it, if that premise isn't all that funny to you, then the movie for what it was for me, then the movie kind of fails because there's nothing else to fall back on.
Well, it's crazy because like you don't really realize that the invention of the internet and all that stuff cost more people to read, right? So more people are reading. Like you'd find that literacy was down before people are reading on their phones, even if they're reading like text messages. So it did completely like it's so weird that one little thing changed so many things.
More people are reading, but I would also argue because of the internet, you don't need to know how to spell anything. You don't need to have to remember any numbers anymore.
But just reading, period. I mean, you're not reading books. You're not reading fucking Shakespeare.
What you're reading, like,
period.
it's some, if you read like not the best grammar a lot, say you find the blog, and so that's going to bring everybody down. Also,
just watch people write stuff on Twitter wrong all the time.
Right. So, and then that becomes like vernacular and becomes part.
Well,
like,
I would say if we're getting like into like this debate of humanity and what this movie, which I don't think this movie's. That I think that's one of the issues I have with the movie is that everyone equates it to like this prophecy of what happened, and it's like, no, I don't think that was like. I think he may have had something to say about the time that we were in, but I think he was just making a fun movie, like and to like okay, so now if it's like this prophecy of like what humanity would have been or is going to become, if you want to look at like the history of humanity, there's nothing to suggest that humans were getting dumber. If you look at 2,000 years plus of humanity.
Yeah.
We've only gotten smarter throughout the years.
Well, that's not true, actually. There was the Dark Ages and the medieval ages when intelligence went all down. We had to rediscover after thousands of years all of these secrets that, and all it took was one religion to be spread out throughout the world.
Yeah, that's
and that was very restrictive and very much like, thought that anything that was scientific was against God. So yeah, we had this great run for a while, and then we went for a few hundred years into shit, and those were not the best times to be around. So I think that it's cyclical, and I think that there is going to be another dark age, but we've managed to avoid it because of technology. Because I think it was going in that direction, but then the fact that you could just carry a computer in your hand.
Yeah, I mean, we're all
everything.
cyborgs now. We have, literally are attached to the internet.
Yeah. I mean, it's done so many things. It's like you spread out culture. It's given people voices that didn't have it. So it's got all these things. And it did make people more aware. That's when the wokeness started to happen, where people started to wake up to certain things. So, so it did kind of, we're able to avoid that kind of dark age that we thought was coming.
Is this a political movie? Would you consider this a political movie?
Well, speaking of politics, you see the Fox News ad on there?
Well, that's, the funny detail is that every logo from corporations has been slightly modified, except the Fox logo is still the same.
Yeah,
and
but
it's still
what's
pretty much
even
the same.
better, though, about that is Fox produced the movie.
Yes, and Fox also did make the movie,
So
which is
either
hilarious.
they're just poking fun of themselves or like they just let Mike Judge run with it.
Yeah, Fox News hasn't really changed. It's exactly the same.
Is it a political movie?
Yeah, would you consider it a political movie?
I don't know.
I think that Mike Judge likes to I think everything that he does is based on stupidity, like Beavis and Butthead.
Yeah, it's utterly stupid and hilarious.
Yeah, so like Beavis and Butthead is about like looking at the world through the stupidity of them.
Yeah.
And, kind of making fun of people through them. And same thing with Silicon Valley. He's making fun of smart people.
Right.
And how stupid they are, that there's like the utter stupidity of that. So I think that if you look at Silicon Valley, he's pretty much vindicated his whole thought process on this, because they tried to say that Mike Judge was into eugenics because of what he said about people who giving birth to more people than other people.
I can see that, but he's just making a point.
Yeah.
I mean,
I don't know. It's really weird.
Even like the rehabilitation bit at the end, it's kind of like a wrestling event, or kind of like being blasted on social media publicly now, equivalent, you know?
Yeah, I think it was like harkening back to like the Coliseum.
Yeah, I think they were going
like gladiators.
more with the Coliseum.
But you got to giggle at the phallic monster trucks and
I did enjoy the gigantic monster truck not being able to get through the entrance.
He's like, oh, too big? I guess it was too big. The ass dozer with Beef Supreme. You know what's funny about that guy? Did you notice how he didn't have any lines? Beef Supreme, you know who that is?
Who's that?
That's one of the brothers.
That is a third Wilson brother. This is Andrew Wilson. Yes, Andrew Wilson, brother of Owen and Luke. The reason he didn't have any lines is he didn't want to have to get a SAG card, a union card for this, because he had just helped his brother Owen through some depression through his life caused by the Screen Actors Guild or something. And he wanted to work with his brother, but he didn't want to give SAG the satisfaction of joy. So he's like, I'll do it. I don't want any lines. So yeah, thus he's just pointing and pretending not where to go.
I feel like I've seen him in other stuff though.
He might have done other things later, but that's Andrew Wilson.
Oh, wow.
And here's something I did not even remember. Do you know there's a post-credit scene of this movie?
No.
Do you know? Guess who pops up? Fucking Upgrade, Rita's pimp. Remember, she's like, 500 years,
sense.
Upgrade's going to kill me. So they cut back to another pod, and the pod opens, and it's this pimp, it's Upgrade, and he comes out.
Oh, shit.
And he's like, I'm going to find her ass. And he starts walking away. Look at it. I was like, oh my God, I didn't even know that this was in here.
I thought that was a joke that they left on the table.
Yeah, what about Upgrade?
My favorite, the two things that I thought were funny was when the guy's car is getting like fucking set on fire and he's like cheering it on. He's like, that's your car. He's just so psyched to see violence, you know?
Shoot it. and then the crowd forms around him and starts cheering.
And when he gets his tattoo.
Oh yeah, not sure. I'm not. No, my last name is not sure. Okay, not sure. And he gets a tattoo. Well, how you know I have a tattoo? Fucking Justin Long. There's so many moments that I love. And you know what? To be honest, I will say I kind of enjoy talking about this movie, maybe more than watching it again. Like, it makes me laugh more talking about it.
I remember when I first saw it, I thought it was hilarious because I saw it in 2006.
Yeah.
And I remember talking to somebody about it, like maybe like a few years ago, and they checked it out. They're like, that movie's crazy. Like, I can't believe that you like this movie. And I was like, I don't know. I haven't seen it, but whatever. And now I get it. I get why that reaction happens.
I mean, it's akin to kind of like a Brave New World or a 1984 dystopian future kind of thing, you know? So, I mean, it's a stretch, but it has some literary value. Okay, here. Let me just cite a couple of things. You tell me if you agree or not that this movie predicted. We mentioned we had a certain president that was a lot like Hector Herbert Mountain Dew Elizondo Camacho.
Right.
There has been fast food in the White House similar to this movie, right?
Oh, right. Such a stretch.
Okay. The police, you did see some hyper violent and aggressive policing like you see in this movie where they just blow everything up immediately and just
they just show up with rocket launchers.
They just like pepper spray you for saying nothing.
Yeah.
There's a TV show called Wipeout. You ever seen this TV show, Wipeout?
I've heard about it, yeah.
It's very similar to Ow My Balls.
Or just the fact that the internet, just people getting hit in the nuts, like Fail Army and shit like that.
Well, I mean, I'll counter that. America's Funniest Home Videos was the precipice of all this stuff.
That's true.
That
is true.
Way before any of this thing.
That was man getting hit in the groin. Yeah.
Yeah.
People like seeing people get hurt. It's a funny thing.
Listen, ball to the groin will never not be funny. It's all, I don't care who you are. It's always funny.
Nut shot is a Dick Kick City is great.
Yes, nut shot is always good. People now are distracted by their fucking phones where they will step out into traffic and get hit. That's something that seems like could happen in this movie.
Wait, that happened in the movie?
No, but it happens in real life. But it's
how did the movie predict that?
Because everyone is just glued to their seat. I love how Frito's reclining chair has a toilet right there. He takes a shit and he watches everything right there.
Well, they suck through a tube and they eat goop.
Yes,
it's like they eat something.
I think it's like popcorn goop.
Yeah,
I'll give it this. You can keep going, but I'll give it this. There's funny little things in there. I just didn't find the overall movie to be all that funny.
Okay,
but keep going. on the predictions.
Mitt Romney famously said, corporations are people, and we've given corporations the rights of people and brands and corporations and people. The lines have been blurred to where you don't even know. So I thought,
well, like Facebook, the overreach that Facebook has now, or whatever you want to call it, Meta has now is ridiculous. And so that's very much like Brondo, like taking over water.
Yes. That's the one thing that hasn't happened is that sports drinks didn't entirely take over the game. We got an influx of like kombucha and healthy.
No, actually, the opposite happened. Is now there's a lot more
healthy
sensitivity around healthy stuff,
and what's in those sports drinks. So that's one thing that didn't happen. But the barcode that everyone gets, and you like use it to pay for things, and you scan it.
All right, let's hear this.
You could go to an Amazon grocery store right now, fully automated payment. Pick up things, put it in your bag, scan your shit. It might as well be tattooed on you, your QR code, and walk right the fuck out. Automated payment, just like they have in that.
But how is that stupid?
It's not stupid. It's something the movie predicted.
Get out of here. That's a stretch too.
Okay, here's something that I think. Okay, here's something that ties into COVID. A couple of things that tied into like COVID. The only restaurants that survive, similar to 500 years in the future, are these large fast food chains. They're the only ones available to survive, and it may be
brothels.
And they turn on the brothels, but it may be like if it gets bad again, it may be the only food left is there's only fast food.
Well, there is a the Main Street mom and pop places are dying out.
Exactly,
and these big box places are taking.
It's only
over.
going to be McDonald's, and there's food deserts in areas where there's only McDonald's to get food.
I mean, the Costco, like there's places in like rural, like upstate New York,
took over
New Jersey,
the whole city,
where all they have is a Walmart,
right?
And that's everything. They go there to do everything. That's where they buy their beer. That's where they fucking buy their prom dress. That's where they buy everything.
Speaking of Walmart, the Brondo corporate takeover, Brondo and the water fountain, is very similar to what you saw with Walmart promoting COVID tests with a sign that's like sponsored by Pepsi. Get your COVID test here at Walmart while you're buying Pepsi. I'm like, if that's not fucking idiocracy, I don't know what the fuck is.
There's things that are kind of along the same lines. As I said, Mike Judge, he got a sense of what was going to happen. The corporate like takeover of everything, the brainwashing is still there, like or dumbing down, and is not exactly like how. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff where like businesses and corporate and all that stuff is way more in our lives than they used to be.
I mean, the English language has kind of been decimated, you guys. You got to agree. You got words
I
like
don't agree with that,
amazeballs and YOLO, and they added dove to the fucking dictionary.
Every generation has had its slang, and every generation prior to that
Kids
has
are
said
talking
the same.
in short.
But
every generation prior to this generation has been like, look at the way they talk. This is going to be the downfall of society. It's the same shit.
Okay.
I do think that there is more of a there's always been this, but I think it's very hypercharged nowadays is to burn everything old down.
It should be burnt.
Like,
no, I'm just fucking
like, and I think, oh, okay, because that comes with the idea of burning everything down is like this idea that whatever we did doesn't work, so we have to fix it and redo it. But the thing that nobody ever thinks about is that people have been on this earth for like hundreds of thousands of years, probably with societies we don't even know about that have come and gone, and they've tried everything. And there is a constant that continues, right? So like, I'm sure like they've tried communism. They've tried all these different ways of doing things, right? And so they didn't really pan out. So they've tried utopia 1,000 times. And like, this is as close as we've gotten. It's not saying we don't have to like tune it up.
Yeah.
And like fix it up, but to burn it down doesn't really make a lot of sense and start over from nothing.
Apparently there is a fellatio cafe in Switzerland.
Is there?
Yeah, it's not a Starbucks, but it's Switzerland. So
I would have figured that would have been like Amsterdam.
Yeah, that's something that, I mean, Amsterdam has a lot of these the red light district reminds me a lot of this. And then the last thing, this weird thing, he unintentionally made popular, thought it was going to be popular. Somebody had brought a pair of Crocs to the set. They had just come out.
I did notice the guy was wearing Crocs.
Everybody's
in
wearing
jail.
Crocs. And Mike Judge, when he saw these shoes, he's like, these shoes are so dumb. I have to put them in this movie. There's no way this is going to be popular. And not 2 years later, fucking Crocs blow up. And they're still, I was in the mall the other day, there's big Crocs.
Oh, everyone's wearing
They're
them.
still super popular. So, like, he unintentionally called.
When I first saw them, I was like, those things are hideous.
Yeah, he's
no
like,
one
these
should wear
are
them.
ugly and dumb. And of course, they're going to be huge.
I'll agree with you. Those are bad. Those are terrible looking shoes.
Anyways, Fox agreed with you too, Anthony. They didn't want to promote this movie. There was no marketing for it. They were afraid of what the sponsors were going to say when they saw it.
It's very offensive.
There was no trailer.
Preface. They would. I don't know how it would have felt in 2006.
Right.
But at this point in my life, I'm like, yeah, this is.
It
not
is
that
a movie that it completely hits differently back then than it does now. I will give you that. I felt that. But the movie like Don't Look Up that came out recently kind of reminded me of this movie a little bit in the same way how everybody's just ignorant about climate change and they refuse to, acknowledge a comet that's coming when they could see it. And they're like, there's no comet. There's no asteroid. It's a hoax. And the Crocs thing was also went even farther. They did a promotion with KFC where they had like fried chicken pattern on the Crocs. I'm like, that's Idiocracy in a nutshell. Fucking Crocs and KFC. Okay, so look, I think let's end it with this. I want you to rate it, and I think I know your answer to these questions, Anthony. Is this movie deep or dumb, and does it hold up? I think I already know what you're going to say.
Dumb to me doesn't hold up at all, and was like very not unhappy. I was just very disappointed because I really liked Office Space by Mike Judge, and I liked some of his work.
Yeah,
in other things he's done, and you would hype this up a lot. So I was like, man, why am I not laughing as much as I thought I'd be laughing?
I mean, Office Space is a better movie, I think, overall.
I think Office Space is just much more relatable.
Yeah,
right. Like everyone's kind of knows of or has been in an office, although that might go away now. And yeah, did you want me to rate it? You said,
yeah, give me a rating.
I mean, it's not complete shit, so
yeah.
I would go like 5.5 out of 10.
Okay.
Whoa, that's higher than I thought.
Okay, that's fair.
I thought there was some interest. Like, if anything, what I would say is they had an interesting sandbox, and I just didn't think they played as well in it as they could. I thought there was more to be mined out of it, than just like the stupid things that they did.
Okay, that's fair. I can see that. Watching it now, it's that. I think that's very interesting. Ruggs, what can you say about this movie now? And give me a rating.
I feel like I liked it a lot less than I did when I first watched it. And I think I had seen it maybe in between at some point in time, but I remember I didn't even watch the whole thing. I just kind of like went to certain parts I thought were funny, and I didn't really, because I was like, I already know how this goes, and it's one of those movies that once you've seen it, like it's all the jokes are spoiled, and there isn't like that great comedic timing because in this movie everybody's so dumb,
right,
that they don't even have timing.
Yeah.
It's just kind of like not there. But I do really think that some of the stuff was kind of prophetic in certain ways. And I'm glad also, I'm very, very happy that we didn't go in that direction. I'm happy that we took a turn in another direction, but now we have a whole host of different problems, and someone should make that fucking movie.
It's called Don't Look Up.
Because there is an idiocracy going on. It's just not this one.
That term got coined and used a lot, especially in the last 6 years.
Like, we have so much dumb shit going on, but it's just
that's what
masked.
I'm saying. Like, he predicted half of the shit that happened.
Yeah,
but a lot of it.
But it's like it's disguised.
Yeah.
It's like it's not blatant. Like he went into blatant stupidity. Like, we are a fucking caveman. We're reverting to being cavemen.
Yeah, I mean, it's Mike Judge though. Like you said, it's Beavis and Butthead.
Now we're actually not even we're trying to escape humanity at this point. Right. We're trying to be beyond human. So that's a whole different direction that we're going in. We're trying to go to fucking Mars and shit. So it's not as clever as I thought it was when it first came out. I did find a little, even though it was edgy for its time, and now it's like you can't really justify a lot of the stuff in this film. I'm gonna give it a 5.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Wow. I thought wow.
I do like some of the things. It's like, as a movie, I think it's a 5, but there are things that are in this movie that will always make me laugh. Like the fact that, like, President Camacho, just the whole performance by Terry Crews is hilarious.
Him shooting a gun in the House of Representatives.
You basically said it's a movie.
Yeah, it's just a movie. And
wow, I thought you really liked it the same way Imran liked it.
Well, I did before I watched it again.
Okay.
And then I was like, oh, it's not as like, it would have been cooler if he was more on target or he, I don't know if it was deeper, I guess. It was very surface level.
Yeah.
And I was able to see that. But back at that time, in the early 2000s and even in the 90s, you just wanted to be irreverent.
Yeah.
You wanted to just say, fuck
Shock
you
value.
to everybody. Yeah. You just want to say like whatever you want and just get away with it. And that was the cool thing about that time. But now we're not in that time. So it's hard to like get into that headspace again. So it's weird.
Look, I'm going to say I kind of agree with what you said a little bit, Ruggs, because yes, it was a movie. Like I said, it hit differently back then, and rewatching it again I didn't get that same feeling. Like I almost enjoy just talking about the clips and thinking about it makes my eyes water, right? Just talking about it with somebody who's seen it, we just start laughing like idiots. But then watching it again, some of it doesn't hold up. I think it's in between deep and dumb. But
talking about Ass the movie, like when I like 10 years ago, Ass the movie I would have thought it would come out. Like that's where we're going.
What else I learned
direction.
about that whole scene is he went to a reform school and got a bunch of kids to sit in the audience, right? And he was thinking about how do I direct them to just laugh at this thing. Turns out, once he threw the actual ass footage up there, he didn't have to tell them anything. Those people just started giggling and laughing, and they just started laughing. Like, they were legitimately laughing at ass and ass farting.
I mean, are we surprised by this? We have a person that does a fart joke by the end of every show.
Oh, we're going to get to that soon. That's right. That's,
speaking
again,
of ass.
never not funny. Ball to the groin and fart jokes, never not funny. But I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10. I still think it's a ballsy fucking movie, what he did. Like,
you could never make this
can't
now.
make this now. And what's weird is a few years later.
Not in this tone. You'd have to change it up a little bit.
Would you be game for it, Anthony? Like a kind of take on the Idiocracy that we have right now?
Absolutely.
It's Don't Look Up. Watch Don't Look Up. That's what that is. It's a modern day Idiocracy.
Yeah.
I think it just, when I watched it, I was like, this has not aged well.
Yeah, but man, discovering this movie in like 2006 on DVD, you thought it was the fucking funniest thing. And my memories of it were that it was the fucking funniest thing. I still love a lot of the gags and a lot of the jokes, but it definitely felt different. And it was just a little, it was, some of it didn't.
Let me ask you one question, Imran.
Yeah.
If I would have come out been like, I love this movie, do you think your opinion of this, would you have given it a higher score? Because it seems like we lowered your score.
No. I did feel watching it again that I was like, something is off. Like, but it's, what about Airplane? It reminded me of Airplane. Like, Airplane's also kind of tasteless, foul humor, offensive.
I think the jokes are tighter on Airplane.
You know what it kind of reminded me of?
Yeah.
It's not held in the same esteem at all. But it reminded me of watching Animal House for the first time as an adult, where I was like, "Whoa, this is not aged well, and this is very juvenile, and this is like it. I don't know if that I didn't know if when I watched that movie, I was like, there's not a lot in this movie that's making me laugh.
Yeah,
but the pass I give Animal House is that came out 30 or almost 50 years ago,
early 80s, yes,
early 40 years ago.
Yeah,
whereas this movie, I'm going to judge a little more harshly because. Although 16 years is a long time, is it that long?
I mean, we just did Bad Boys 2. That was 3 years earlier, and it had kind of the same kind of un-PC shit in that movie. It was still apparently in vogue. People didn't care.
Yeah, the early 2000s were...
it was like late 90s carryover.
Yeah, it was a weird time.
Right? Wasn't that weird?
It was the last hurrah of just irreverence.
Yeah.
It was just sex. It was, as I said, it was just about being irreverent and... like language and Howard Stern and porn and porn stars, like all that stuff was like you were watching the beginnings of reality TV, the beginnings of like things where like TV, like there used to be in the 80s, you had to have a TV show. You couldn't just film people and people would watch it, and now that's all we do. We watch fucking TikTok videos and people like on YouTube with their channels and stuff like that. They're just talking to a camera.
So to me, Anthony, it's one of those movies I go around quoting all the time. It's just, comes up.
I've heard you bring up Idiocracy all the time.
But that's what I'm saying. It's like it comes up in life.
Because the concept of it was the fact that someone could think, oh, we're going to get to a point where we're going to have celebrities be president. and people are, going to just be dumb.
I mean, every time I go to Costco, I say out loud, "Welcome to Costco. I love you." Like, you have to. How can you not? And I'm always walking around going, "I like money, though. I like money." There's just so many things you could quote from this fucking movie. Water, like from the toilet.
It's got electrolytes.
It's
I
what
say that
creates
all the
great.
time.
It's got electrolytes.
I find Office Space to be more quotable.
Office Space is also very quotable.
What does it just say? You do.
It seems like you've been missing a lot of work. I wouldn't say I've been missing it, but that's what Judge does. He does great at these little quotable, memorable lines. I still I still really enjoy this movie. It's one of my favorite movies. I'm glad it exists. All right.
Yeah. There's a space for everything.
There is a space for everything. All right, and now is the space for our fart joke. Let's do some news from the nation.
Trenton Smith. Wonder what Trenton Smith, if he I bet he really liked it.
T. Smith.
I'd be curious.
Let us know your thoughts on why you picked this. Thank you for picking the movie, Trenton Smith, and
thanks
for being
your contribution here.
Thanks for being part of the Patreon fan club. Fart joke incoming. News from the nation. It's time for news from the nation. It's time for news from the nation. See?
The quick one.
It's never.
It stinks. It stinks. It stinks.
That's one of those where you didn't mean for it to come out.
There's a jump scare.
Yeah, the jump part where you're like, oh. Or when you're on the toilet and you're like, it's about to all come out, but the fart comes first.
Is the preemptive?
Yeah, the preemptive fart before the floodgates open.
Yeah.
See, Idiocracy was right.
Or sometimes you think you have to shit, but it's just the fart.
The fart, yeah.
So last week we did Bad Boys 2 for Roberto Rivera, Patreon movie pick, and at the end, Anthony, you had asked him, let us know, why did you pick this movie? And he lets us know. Roberto says, thanks for reviewing my movie choice, guys. Why Bad Boys 2? This was my favorite movie as a teen. It was my introduction to hip-hop, cool cars, action, girls, comedy in one project. As a 13-year-old, I was just amazed so much awesomeness could be stuffed into one movie. I remember walking out of the movie theater just in awe. It felt like if they made a Grand Theft Auto into a movie. And then he goes, I've watched it as an adult, and it does run a little long, but as a 13, 14-year-old kid, this was the best movie ever. Thanks again for the review. It was great hearing you guys riding the edge of saying the movie sucked, but also discussing all the great things it actually did. He gets it. He gets it.
13, 14-year-old me would have loved that movie, too.
That's made for 12-year-olds to 14-year-olds, that movie.
That's Michael Bay's wheelhouse.
That's his target audience.
It still needs to lose about 15, 20 minutes.
He knows his target audience. Blake Braden has a great question. I got a couple of great questions I wanted to get you guys' thoughts on from our nation. He asks, what's a bad movie that has a great soundtrack? It's a great fucking question. You guys think about it. I'll give you some of the nation's answers. Blake,
do people consider Rocky IV a bad movie?
I think so.
I would say it has a very good soundtrack.
Yeah, one of I say the Rocky movie with the James Brown song is also a good soundtrack.
That's Rocky IV.
That's IV. Yeah, that one definitely. Yes, definitely that is in that category.
Okay, so let's read some of these out.
Blake Braden put down Flash Gordon because that was all Queen. Queen music, right? John Campbell says End of Days. That's that Schwarzenegger movie, right?
Okay.
I don't know what's on that one. Lyle Pringle has Rock of Ages.
Lyle Pringle, that's the new one that entered the chat.
Yeah, that's
here.
the new guy. He left. How you doing, Lyle? Nice to meet you. Do you own all of the Pringles or just like the sour cream and onion Pringle family? I don't know. I'll have to find out.
Just one Pringle.
Just one Pringle.
Yeah.
I put in Judgment Night, which is a
That's a good one.
horrible
That's
movie
a great
with a
one.
fantastic soundtrack, a hip hop and alt rock metal bands combined. Jamie Robbins says that's the Rocky Horror Picture Show. You got Meatloaf, I suppose. William Salgado, Fast and the Furious Tokyo Drift. What was on that one?
Oh yeah. There's there's only one song I can think of, and if I tried to say the words now, it would be very offensive because I don't know what they're saying in Japanese.
I see. Okay. What language is it in? Oh, it's in Japanese?
I believe there's a...
Okay.
I can't... I could recreate saying that like 10, 15 years ago. I could recreate saying this like in 2006 when
Idiocracy came out. Back when you could say those
do that
words.
now.
Yes. Chris Marin has Batman and Robin That
don't remember
have
that
the Seal
soundtrack.
song on there? Kiss from a Rose, or was that?
No, was that
different
Kiss
movie?
from Kiss from a Rose? Was that on Batman?
Was that Returns?
No, that was That was Forever.
That was Forever, not Batman and Robin. What's on the Batman and Robin soundtrack? Andy puts down Godzilla. I don't know which one. The 2014.
The American version, the first one.
Oh, is he talking about the one with P Diddy, Puff Daddy? At the time? Come with me.
Oh, that's right.
That's. I mean, I like that. It's Puff Daddy with Fuck. Now I got to look that song up. But there's a good guitarist.
This is from the Godzilla. The Godzilla.
Yeah. It's let's see.
Is it Slash or fucking Tom Morello?
Jimmy Page.
Oh, Jimmy Page. Oh, that song. I remember that. And P.
They're
Diddy.
recreating the 1975 Led Zeppelin song Kashmir.
Oh, this had Wallflowers, Heroes, Come With Me, Jamiroquai, Rage Against the Machine, Ben Folds 5, Foo Fighters,
Pretty
Green
good.
Day.
That's a pretty good
That's
soundtrack.
not bad soundtrack. We have Jeffrey now says Queen of the Damned. I'm not sure what's on that one. What's on that one, Ruggs? Do you know?
Nope.
And then Bruce O. Hughes has Angus, which I have not.
Oh, I got two.
Okay, what do you got?
And I don't know what's on them. I just know that they were soundtracks that I bought, and I don't know why. Spawn.
Oh, the Spawn soundtrack. They have hip hop on there.
I don't remember. There's a lot of metal on there, and Mission Impossible 2.
Oh, okay.
And I don't think it's a bad movie. It is kind of the worst Mission Impossible movie, though. But I still love it because it's John Woo.
I got a couple others. Anthony, can you think of any?
No, I was just going to read. I don't even know some of these songs offhand, but the Batman and Robin soundtrack, some of the artists, Smashing Pumpkins is on it.
Nice.
Oh, okay.
Bone Thugs and Harmony.
Nice.
Oh, shit.
Someone that's in jail currently, R. Kelly, R.E.M., Jewel.
Oh,
Voodoo
yeah.
Dolls.
Those are all big names.
That's of the time.
Well, at the time, I mean, got to remember mid-90s, like these, even though we make fun of them now, these Batman movies were gigantic.
Huge. They're huge money makers. I got a couple others I found on this list that I agree with. Saturday Night Fever had the Bee Gees, and that's
a great soundtrack.
The title track is great. All the Bee Gees songs are great. You can put.
But that's a good movie.
Is it though? I mean, it's okay.
It gives you a really realistic picture of Brooklyn, you know.
I work so hard on my hair, and you hit it.
Yeah, you hit my hair.
Fucking Travolta.
Al Pacino. Attica.
I would put up in this category any Prince movie. Like Under the Cherry Moon or Purple Rain. I mean, Purple Rain is nostalgia. It's not the greatest movie, but the soundtracks always fire on any Prince movie. You could put in here also Last Action Hero comes up. I don't remember what's on that one. Reality Bites had a great like alt rock angst soundtrack, Gen X of the day.
Reality Bites and Singles had
Singles was another one. Singles is a good movie, but Reality Bites had that Lisa Loeb song. Remember? Stay.
You say.
Yeah.
What about Karate Kid Part 2?
Oh, what was on that one?
Glory of Love by Peter Cetera.
Oh, that Glory of Love is a good one.
Yeah. I can't think. I mean, that's the only song I think of from that soundtrack.
Okay, that was a great question, Blake Braden. Let's move on to this next hypothetical question that'll also break your head. I want to know what you guys would answer to this question posed by Justin Zwerner. Would you rather live in a 24-hour time loop or be the only person on Earth? Oh, shit.
That's not even a question.
Really?
Yeah.
What is your answer?
This is not even debatable.
I can argue both ways. What? Okay, Ruggs, what would you pick?
24-hour time loop would be the best thing.
Why?
Because, like, you could literally do different shit every day.
You could get yourself killed. I guess it wouldn't matter. Like, kind of like a Groundhog
you would just
Day.
wake up again.
Palm
you know,
Springs.
you could get you don't have to worry about condoms.
But there'd be no there'd be no spontaneity. Everything would be predictable.
No, but you could work that system.
But but the thing is, any progress you made if you're trying to do something, all gets reset at the end of the fucking day.
Yeah, but you would know. You would know the progress you made, so you could already
build off
game the
that.
system even more. Yeah. I think this is not even a debate. I
Really?
mean, if you like human interaction at all, 24-hour time loop is. I mean, it's just like a video game at that point.
Right. You just respawn.
I mean, by the end of every day, you're like, okay, like I know the end, how it's going to end. I'm going to try to be a millionaire today. Tomorrow, I'm going to try to fuck Pamela Anderson's 75-year-old ass. Like you're just going to like do everything you've ever wanted to do, and you're going to be able to this doesn't seem like a debate at all.
Well, here's what some of our listeners thought.
I would be like the best criminal and just try and get away with it every time.
That's the thing. You could be the best criminal, and then after 2 years of doing that, you could be the best something else.
Here's the thing. What good is it being a criminal? You steal a bunch of money. Next day happens, you got to do it all over again. You don't have that money.
It's for the thrill.
Yeah. What are you going to do as the only person in the world?
Listen, there's a movie called Boss Level with Frank Grillo doing the exact same
Palm
thing.
Springs. There's tons of movies.
There's also this movie called Edge of Tomorrow, which we revealed.
Yes, that was a great movie. So
Palm Springs, yeah.
Here.
Give me the. Do you have any? What's the appeal for last person on Earth?
Last person on Earth, you could do whatever you want. You don't have
you
to
do
deal
that with 24-hour time loop. All right.
You don't have to deal. I don't know. You don't have to deal with annoying people. You can move around at least and not have to be in the same place over and over again. It wouldn't get stale. And you can actually progress and advance things and work on things.
Make me be miserable.
At some point, though,
you could live wherever you want. You could check out. You could go to another part of the world.
But at some point, as the only person in the world, you're going to have to. Unless you're just naturally like a farmer, you're going to have to start sustaining things.
I guess it depends if you're introverted or extroverted also.
Like, you're going to have to maintain the grid. You're going to have to, or you're going to have to make fire. You're going to have to, eventually you're going to run out, the animals are going to die. You're going to need to do that. Who are you going to talk to? You're going to start talking to a goddamn volleyball with a blood
yeah, you set up a couple of fucking...
with a blood print on it.
Talk to yourself.
I don't know. I just don't see this as a debate.
Okay, so... Okay, maybe you're right. Maybe I don't have an argument. Somebody does have an argument for Last Person on Earth. Yeah. So Chris Marin said 24-hour time loop, definitely. John Campbell, 24-hour time loop. Jess Rivera had a few questions, and we figured out from Justin that in this future, or in this Last Person on Earth scenario, there is no power, but you do get a dog.
That's even worse.
After hearing that, Jess Rivera goes, drop the bomb, me and my pup going to see the world.
It's even worse if you have no power.
No power. It's kind of like a Walking Dead apocalyptic future. Daryl K. time loop. John Bellotti Jr. says, only person on Earth. Do you know how much art I can get done like that? See, there's if you're an artist, there's an argument for people. Leave you the fuck alone.
Okay, sure.
You can make sculptures. And then Blake Braden has a thought about this. He said, definitely Last Person on Earth. There's no progressing or any feeling of accomplishment. Anything you progress in within 24 hours goes away after 24 hours. Plus, I already talk to myself, set up a few mannequins, have some conversations with them, live somewhere new every day, play golf anywhere I want. As long as I have goals, I feel I'd be on. So it does give you the chance to have goals.
You'd have to be a very intrinsic person, because you have the goals, but you never would be able to share those accomplishments with anybody.
You'd have to be a very crafty person though too. You got to know how to live in the woods and shit. Yeah,
you'd have to be super introverted about your goals. The fun of your goal, accomplishing your goals, is not only you accomplishing it, but being able to share that you've accomplished those goals.
I think I would be able to do it only if this is the stipulation that there is a self-sustaining grid. And I have access to all the entertainment and everything that we have right now.
Oh, I like that. I like that last person. Okay, so if we're in your scenario, Ruggs, I would just record a podcast every day, put it out to nobody, just to feel like I'm doing something.
Well, I would watch every movie that I never watched.
That would be great.
I would watch everything that I could watch, whatever I want, and I could play video games. I could do all that stuff.
You read all the comic books you ever wanted to read.
Yeah.
I would find that I would watch a movie. If I was by myself and I was watching movies, it'd make me more depressed.
Remember People?
I'd be like, I can't do
but
any
then
of this.
I also would think that there's, we have access to artificial intelligence that you could have conversations with as well.
If there was power, then you could definitely be so that's a third scenario. Last person on Earth.
You would go
with AI.
You would be like, I need to find the AI so I can go full Demolition Man and have sex by just putting on this helmet.
Yes.
Yeah, as long as you have technology,
seashells.
I would say I could hold out more.
Oh, you
I could probably last 2 or 3 years.
Yeah, I think
I would commit suicide within a week if I was by myself and no one else around.
I think I would go crazy, and within a couple of weeks start seeing things, and it'd be really fun.
Really, people definitely want the 24-hour time loop. That's the winner, obviously. But
actually closer than you thought you would think, though.
Yeah, there's arguments to be made.
Seems like this is more of a debate than I would have imagined.
Right, it's great. Great question, Justin Sawyer.
I would love to hear the nation come up with more questions like this. Questions.
I love these when you guys post stuff like this, because it's just always fun to answer them. Let's finish up real quick. What are we watching? Anthony, tell me about this 80s journey you're going on. What are you
I don't know what's going on with me.
What are you watching?
I feel like I've transformed into 1984. All like just the toxic masculinity that is the 80s, and now I'm just loving it.
Yeah.
So I've watched 2 movies besides for Rambo First Blood, which I've already put up a Patreon review for. I'll do 2 more at some point this week, hopefully. But I've watched, for the first time, I watched Big Trouble in Little China.
Nice.
And then I rewatched Beverly Hills Cop last night.
Oh, that's a does that hold up? I feel like that holds up.
Beverly Hills Cop is still a fucking awesome movie.
That is such a funny movie.
But
great
it's
action.
Eddie Murphy is amazing in that movie.
Yeah.
He's so good. Big Trouble in Little China is an interesting fucking movie.
It's wild.
It is wild. It's kind of in on the joke. Like it definitely is in on the joke. It's trying to be like Kurt Russell is basically a buffoon the entire movie.
Yeah.
That being said, I found it to be a little too wacky for my taste, but I did appreciate what it was going for.
Yeah, it's really wacky. It's not like
wacky.
Anything else. Yeah, it's a fucking wacky. Yeah.
I mean, when you got like an abominable Chinese snowman monster coming out and all, I mean, it's like, yeah, I was just like, whoa, this is definitely like smarter though than you would think. Like it's an interesting movie. I didn't completely expect it.
Yeah, it's definitely one of the classic 80s.
They're both good. They're both. It's no.
Now you got to watch The Golden Child.
Oh, that's a good one too,
I've seen The Golden Child. I haven't seen that in a very long time.
Because that's the only thing I could. Big Trouble in Little China. I keep saying that. And The Golden Child, I feel like are like kind of like almost bookends.
I think they came out the same year too.
Yeah, probably. I think so.
Or they might have. Yeah, I think they came out.
You got like the American buffoon, like Eddie Murphy. He's an idiot in that movie, but he's great in that movie too. The Golden Child.
Ruggs, what have you been watching? Rewatching?
Oh, I watched the first 2 Lethal Weapon.
Look at this guy. He's on the path too.
How do those movies hold up?
Well, because we were talking about Lethal Weapon. I'm like, man, it's been the longest time since I've seen the first one. I'm like, I barely remember it. All I remember is Danny Glover just like being like the way he runs in that movie. Like he's like so lanky and like he's like I just remember like Mel Gibson's running a lot in that movie too. He's always running on cars.
Yeah, he's going for the running Olympics in that movie.
Yeah, I thought that Tom Cruise ran a lot, but Mel Gibson early in his career he did some miles.
You know what's a fun fact about that movie is I believe Danny Glover is 40 in that movie, but he's playing a 50-year-old. And what's his name? What the fuck's
Mel
name?
Gibson.
Mel Gibson looks like he's almost 50, but he's playing a 30-year-old, and he's actually 30.
People looked older than they should have.
They aged up Danny Glover to like 50 in that movie.
But there was just something about it in the 80s that like a 20-year-old looked like a fucking 35 or 40-year-old for some reason in movies and TV shows.
Did you think it was good? Still holds up?
I feel like the first Lethal Weapon is actually a pretty good movie.
Okay.
And I feel like the second one is better directed and has a little bit more punch to it. But I don't think it's as good as a movie as the first one.
Better action maybe, but then the first one's actually
I think the first one has more substance,
more heart.
Now, having watched... Oh, wait, you haven't seen Bad Boys in a while, but I was going to say, having watched Lethal Weapon 2, it's basically the plot's been stolen and it's Bad Boys.
Oh, yeah. 100%. The weird thing was the whole thing about... I forgot about Murtaugh's daughter.
Yeah.
She was a plot point.
That's a weird one.
Yeah, that is really fucking strange.
That was the other point is... So Eddie, she's playing an 18-year-old, I think.
Oh, right.
But she's actually like 26 in the movie.
Okay.
Like as a real actress.
Yeah.
But then Mel Gibson's looks 40, but he's a 30-year-old. So like there's like the romance between them is there.
It's awkward.
But it's awkward because she's playing she's supposed to be a teenager.
Oh,
and he looks old as shit.
Oh my God. That's like Bad Boys 2, sort of.
There's that. And then do you remember, did you catch the scene, Ruggs, when they greet him happy birthday while he's in the bathtub?
Oh yeah, that was weird.
That's weird as shit, right?
But that people used to do shit like there's different cultures where it's cool to be in the bath with your dad.
He just hang out in the bathroom while he's taking a bath.
In what world would any kid go into the bathroom knowing their dad is in the tub and be happy birthday?
I remember watching like Japanese movies where they're all in the bath together and the whole family.
What?
Yeah.
It's a cultural thing.
In My
Anthony.
Neighbor Totoro, they do it. Yeah.
I guess Riggs or Murtaugh had a little Japanese in them.
Remember they had Turkish baths and stuff.
So,
you just
but-
bathe together. It's fine.
There's some bathing rituals. But what else was kind of
Bomb
interesting?
in the toilet scene. Is that from the first one?
Yeah.
That's great.
Is that the first one?
Yeah, that's the second one.
that's
the second one has they do like a little bit too much in that movie. There was like a lot of shit going on.
When does Joe Pesci? When does Pesci join? He joins in the second.
No,
one.
he's in the second one. He's right there. They got the house on the stilts there.
The house.
Mel Gibson has sex with a woman, and then she dies immediately.
Yeah. She's in the. They throw her in the water, right?
Yeah.
Wow.
But they still kind of hold up, or what?
I think that they're fun watches. I think they're both definitely fun watches. I do prefer Tango and Cash. I do.
Wow.
That's a wild movie.
I think they're
That's a
more
wild
funny.
take.
Yeah.
I have to say it. I like, I like Mel Gibson, but I could hear his Australian accent coming out like a lot. And, his characters weren't the characters weren't as well developed as I thought. I mean, like there was like this idea that he's suicidal.
Yeah, that part was good. I thought he did a good job with that being crazy.
And that he was like mourning his wife and whatever. And so that was interesting. And once that kind of the threat of that went away, that he became less interesting to me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
it does go away in the later Lethal Weapon films. They really get away from the suicidal Riggs stuff.
Yeah, then they get Rene Russo in there, right? And then the next
the third one.
And then they have Jet Li in the fourth one.
Yep. I love those Lethal Weapons movies. It's weird to like revisit those because I think they would have been held in higher esteem if Mel Gibson didn't go down the path he's gone.
Didn't get all crazy.
Right. I think those would be more revered, but they're not as revered because I think like that.
One of my favorite things about the Lethal Weapon movies is that they never address why Murtaugh's house is constantly under construction.
That's hilarious.
Like, yeah.
It's always construction. That's right.
Like they show up and there's just like a huge hole in the kitchen. And like, you don't know why.
All right. The only thing I watched this week was I binged season 2 of that show Upload on Amazon.
How was that?
It's a delightful show. Very clever premise where you get uploaded to this world after you die and your consciousness is there and there's like a mystery. It's Greg Daniels created, who did The Office and Parks and Rec. So it was really good. Short, half-an-hour episodes, only 7 episodes. And it was good. Robbie Amell is actually pretty good. I was surprised.
I saw the first season.
Yeah,
I'll watch
second season's pretty good. And then last thing out this week, put on your radar, 2 things. Halo on Paramount
I'm gonna
Plus.
watch that.
Yeah, are you looking forward to this, Ruggs?
I'm going to watch it. I don't know if I'm looking forward to it, but I'm watching.
Yeah, I'm going to check out the first couple of episodes. I've heard mixed reviews. Like, it's kind of generic, but it's like solid sci-fi, but kind of generic. So, and apparently Master Chief takes off his helmet like a lot. So,
no. Yeah.
It's different than the game, but it's based on the game, but it's not the game. That's what I've been reading, but I will check it out.
That makes me have a tear in my eye.
March 24th. That's this Thursday. And then Anthony, this Sunday is the Oscars, March 27th.
Oh, shit. We're not going to talk about it.
With movies nobody has seen, nobody cares. Does anybody care? What's funny is occasionally I'll listen to an episode of ours from a year ago just to do like a little air check.
Super into it.
The one exactly a year ago, we did a whole breakdown of the nominees and all the movies that we watched, and you were so into it. And now nobody gives a fuck.
Well, that's the thing. This is the thing. If you've probably learned this about me.
Yeah.
I get super into something and then I drop it.
I really don't give a shit.
Yeah, that happens.
Yeah.
That
Now I'm on the 80s path and there's no taking me off that path
Fuck
for a
the
little
Oscar movies.
Yeah.
I'll be watching.
I'm going to throw on another 80s movie after we're done.
All right. Well,
which one is it?
I'm debating between. I'm leaning towards right now Top Gun because I don't remember if I've seen Top Gun. I've seen it, but it's been so long that I don't remember.
The new movie still isn't out yet. It's supposed to be
come
out
out this year.
It's supposed to be out like 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Top Gun.
Still.
Would you consider that an 80s action movie?
Absolutely.
All right.
Sure.
Cool. It has to be an 80s action movie for me to watch.
You got topless dudes playing volleyball. You know.
Speaking of rewatching, I listened to the Rewatchables episode of Batman 89.
I listened to that one too. Yes, I did like that one.
Was it good?
Yeah, I thought it was good.
I think we should do that.
Definitely learned a lot of shit.
We should review that movie too.
I like the way they, without plugging them too much because we kind of do the same things. But I like the way they format some of their categories and stuff. I think that's kind of fun.
Most rewatchable scene and stuff.
It's rewatchable. I like the stuff like what's age the best, what's age the worst.
Yeah.
Recasting people. Those are fun little thought conversations to have.
It's a good show. That was a good episode. I'd still love Batman 89. All right. Anthony, you watch Top Gun. Ruggs, tell the listener where they can find you online.
You can find me online at Really Rug Boy. Come follow me.
All the stuff we talked about, listener, are in our show notes, jockandnerd.com/427. We'll get you there. Check it out. Subscribe, support the show. Share the show with a friend, anybody who still thinks Idiocracy is a brilliantly prophetic movie like I do. Still a good movie. Let them know. Share the show. Thanks for listening to the Jock and Nerd podcast. My name is Imran.
My name's Anthony.
He's the Jock.
He's a nerd.
We'll peep you next time.
I stick it up my asshole.
That's from the movie Ass. It's a clip.
Oh.
Fuck that show.
Jock and Nerd.